righty. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for Felo. A very, very wild day. We had a lot of rumors. Straight up, there was a rumor of a 90-day delay. All of our old calls went green. We were able to get out of them. Then they were like, that rumor's fake. Then Trump said he's going to raise the tariffs by 50%. And then we went down and then popped back up. And then pretty much ever since the rumor, it makes these moves look tiny. But these are like 5 points. And then even now, we had a little fake pop and drop. And now there's some headlines about Vietnam to address concerns on non-tariff barriers. So remember, any of the Vietnam stuff on Friday, that caused the move. So you might actually get something, but we'll see if that leads. Otherwise, I'd ride it out, man. I'd ride it out. Oh, these might be fire. I'm kind of down. All right, yeah. So watch, again, I think Vietnam, if we break out above here, this will be reacting to the Vietnam stuff. If we could get above like 504. So just watch out for that. Yes, sir. So we're getting ready for it. You're timed out. Well, you should have been timed out longer, so I have to time you out again. You just got it because the members only. Next time I'm banning you, okay? So, yeah, understand. I understand you were joking, but, most Chads know how I feel about when I ask you something, if I'm being serious and then you joke, and then I ask you and then you say, just kidding, I'm usually going to ban you. So just either be funnier or don't be funny and focus. So it's a risk. Yeah, I like Nike on that. Again, if the Vietnam stuff finally goes through, then you'll get one. You'll get a move. But otherwise, if this fades, we're going to be trapped again. So good luck. Good luck. But let me send out a Felo alert. And then we'll keep this playing for a little bit. And then we'll begin. And then we will begin.
Address U.S. Treasury debt in the monetary system. How do you market, how do you sell all of the Treasury notes, bonds, and bills into the market when you have 7-8 times more paper than we had 20 or 30 years ago, and you have half the market makers? Mm-hmm. This will be an introduction to an introductory meeting so that the members of the task force can come up with speed with experts in the field. But yeah, you talk about timing of critical nature, a task force focusing on the Fed and Treasury debt. I can't imagine two more important issues for the long-term and intermediate and short-term future of the country than that.
Well, when we think about the short term, Larry Fink was talking to Bloomberg last hour. You might have heard the conversation, Congressman. He's casting doubt on what the market sees as the likelihood of several, maybe 4 interest rate cuts this year, even though he says we're probably in a recession right now. If that's the case, how about an emergency rate cut today?
That's not really a position for me to take a side on, but I will simply say this. A lot of the challenges we face right now have to do with the Biden administration's overstimulating the economy with spending 4 years ago, and we're dealing with a hangover from that. Balancing where we are, interest rates, capital investment, the trade issues, it's a challenging time. I would not want to be the chairman of the Fed or, for that matter, on the board of directors, and we can all offer advice and independence, but it's still a body based on its own insights that makes the decision.
Well, if you don't want to be the Fed chairman, Congressman, I wonder if you envy the speaker this week as well, because he's going to have to push through the Senate resolution, which you were speaking to just a moment ago, that looks different than what you and your colleagues initially passed in the House. And already there are a number of Republicans who have suggested they can't support this, given how drastic the difference is in terms of the spending cuts that are outlined. Are you confident that you actually can get this thing passed before the Easter recess?
Well, let me put it this way. With the challenges going on right now, whether it's the trade wars, the stock markets, all of the bond markets, all of these issues, we in the House Republican Conference have to show forward momentum. We have to demonstrate that we can get our work done. We can get to reconciliation. No matter what the instructions say, it will be that final document put together by the various committees that create the savings that move the process forward. If we can't take that step, then that is the kind of thing that could potentially have a dramatic psychological effect on the market. I've told several of my colleagues, we need to do.
Thank you. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and gals, I hope you're doing good. It's time for Felo. So, I hope your day, I don't know if it's good or not. I mean, you avoided Black Friday. You had another 4%. Now you're break even. Bonds went down. So I don't know how good or bad it was. It all depends. You had a random pop, gave your calls back. So it's a weird one, man. But when it's all said and done, welcome to history, my friends. I'm glad we get to spend another opportunity together. So that being said, let's see. The market's already chill. We're waiting for the next update. I think this week, again, we have CPI and a lot of other things. But now that we're here, we still have the rest of the day. Let's talk about life, okay? And if you don't know what Felo is, you should, because some of you were gifted, but most of you paid to be here. So we changed the streams and we ended it, and now we're here because I want to talk about life. I want to read some books, do some other things, and I don't want to distract from the market. I don't want to push anything on anybody. I just want to enjoy my time, and if you would like to enjoy it with me, I would love that. So it's very simple. If you think Felo is foo-foo nonsense, nobody cares because you will get banned if you are distracting. What I mean by that is that you have gone through all the barriers to be here, so to complain about it is very odd. Like genuinely, it's truly odd. So very simple. If you think it's nonsense, all power to you, but we will not tolerate any disrespect. That being said, if you really want to focus on the markets, that's why we're here. So if you don't like the Felo, your job should be only talking about stocks. I put the news wire up here so you guys could read the news as well. And the whole logic here is that if something happens in the market, you only post about that. If something big happens, we'll stop whatever we're doing and we'll get right to it. So that way, it's a good workflow. Everybody gets what they want, and then you don't have to hear anybody complaining, and then, yeah, everybody wins. I love it. I love it, baby. It's been great. So, that being said, I'm not going to read you anything today. Why? Because the market, like I'm telling you, I've never seen this. I've seen a couple of other instances like this, but you don't really have the market dropping 5% every single day. So I didn't think, I was forecasting that, we're not going to really have a day where we should be like reading because a lot of things could be changing. So once the market gets back to not flash crashing, I'll have a lot of good textbooks for you. But in reading, I've been reading ahead. A lot of other things have been coming up. So let me just remind you of one thing. It's two things at once, actually. But do you guys remember in all of this, again, and that's why too, bro, I don't know, man. People are being I think some people are mind blown by everything going on. I think my attitude is fucking with some people. But even then, like, even my mom is like, she's confused. She's like, how come you are so relaxed? Every article say the market. How you not stressed? And I'm like, Mom, I'm loving this. Oh, and I like preparing in advance. And I'm telling you, man, I got a lot of peace, bro. And I wish all of you peace. And guess what? At the end of the day, man, it relates to what I've been telling you. Do not wear yourself out trying to get rich. Do you understand? For real. This goes for all of you. I don't care if you made money, lost money. I don't care where you're at right now. I think this is genuinely good advice, and part of my advantage during these moments is that I don't freak out. Some of you have watched it. Some of you only come here when the markets go down. But when it's all said and done, I think I have a pretty good track record of being a calming voice when the markets are like this. Why? Because I love it. But I think that's a bigger testament to the philo. And that's why I'm telling all of you, I don't care who you are, what you think you'll get out of this or not, but quite simply, moving forward over the next couple of weeks, if you don't wear yourself out trying to get rich, stop beating yourself up for selling too early, stop giving yourself weird anxiety because you didn't make $1 million when you made $999,000 or whatever. Because, again, I see a lot of volatility and emotions and other things, but I'm telling you guys, you want a real good opportunity, you want to take advantage of not only these next couple months, but these next couple of years, don't wear yourself out trying to get rich, okay? So that's the first thing that I've been reminding everybody, but can I remind you the other side? That's why I said it's always a contradiction. Get used to contradictions. That's why those of you who are looking for a clear-cut answer, you're going to hate this market. You have to learn to entertain multiple things at once, and sometimes they're going to cross over and contradict. Some things we know now, some things we don't. So make sure you find a way to balance that, because one, I need you to balance this ideal of cool, calm, collect. I need you to balance this aspect of not wearing yourself out. But then on the reverse, please don't be a lazy mother effer. I hope you hear me right now. And let me remind you with this. I've given a whole philo on this topic. This was from November 21st, 2022. So 3 years ago almost. I gave you a really good philo. And I reminded you. Can I remind you this again today? My friends, the devil is not lazy or careless. Why would you be? So at the same time, I'm telling you not to wear yourself out getting rich. I am warning you against timidness. I am warning you against the lack of courage, and I am warning you against the lack of effort and hard work, because you have to be mindful. You cannot stress yourself out, but you could still prepare. So just because we're not stressing out doesn't mean we don't prepare. And might I remind you, there is a force out there, whether you believe in the devil or not, dog. There is a force out there every day trying to stop you from your goal. Better yet, it is trying to kill you. That is what I believe. The end goal for a demon or the devil is death. They don't want you to be alive. They don't want you to live. Even worse, to be breathing and not really living. Oh, don't get me started. But I hope you feel me on this. Because for real, man, I think you could learn something from your enemies. And you could learn something from the devil. The devil is not careless. He is actually very specific. And that's it. That's why he'll let you have one thing so he could get you on the second. So think about that. If the devil is planning and preparing, maybe you should too. Again, if the devil is not careless or lazy, let me put it this way. Devil sees an opportunity to clap you, especially in this volatility. Do you think he sees you on the fence, right on the fence of tilt? And do you think the devil's like, I'll handle that tomorrow? You think the devil and the demon is watching you about to lose it, and then the opportunity, and then he's like, I'll do it later. Yeah, later. Maybe on Monday I'll get to it. Oh, y'all don't feel me. They gonna take it, bro. If they notice you wobbling, they gonna go after you. Same thing here, bro. I encourage you to come into the next quarter planning, preparing, and dotting your I's, crossing your T's. Because, again, the thing trying to take you out is doing that. Why wouldn't you? You could be chill. You don't have to force anything. More fati, nothing to stress over. You don't have to give yourself this weird anxiety while you go to work. But at the end of the day, you need to be preparing. You need to be planning these steps. And I'm telling you, man, if these forces against you aren't lazy, I don't think you could afford that right now at this opportunity and juncture. So lock in, baby. Lock in. The harvest is plenty. The workers are few. So that being said, that's kind of your intro, but like it has to do with everything I wanted to tell you. Because like I told you, I've been reading ahead a little bit, and, you know, things are so deep and complex. You know, with the market right now, I don't think we could be reading books, right, like of that. We could read like a Dr. Seuss or something, or like an easier one, or I could play a clip for you. Maybe I'll do that in the next couple of days, but I've been reading ahead, and something came back to me. And I read you this book. It's a deep book as well, but Sovereignty, okay? And I was reading G.K. Chesterton, and as I was going through it, I was like, he kept talking about sovereignty, and it reminded me of another classic, Arthur Pink, The Sovereignty of God. And it's funny, man, I'm telling you, I don't think you guys realize it, like, most of the content that I read is from, like, the 1800s and, like, early 1900s. So these tariffs are perfect for me. But at the end of the day, I love these classic texts. I think there's some OG wisdom you could always learn from. And one of those is Arthur Pink, Sovereignty of God. But yes, sovereignty, bro, it's a big deal. Do you know what again, everybody's talking about sovereignty, a sovereign state, the ability to make your own decisions, act however you please, right? And think about it, all of it, man, everything going on in life. Just don't ever forget, man, if he willed it, then he willed it. But long story short, I don't think God is a victim with everything going on in the world at any time. But that's not the point. The point is, there are certain things, it's funny because you hear G.K. Chesterton, he has a lot of answers. You read Arthur Pink, you ask Arthur Pink, why is the world like this? Why is there good? Why is there bad? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? He just said, because God wants to. That's why. Why is there some angels that rebel and some don't? Why are humans different than angels? Because God wants to. The hardest things in life, sometimes that you can't answer. Sometimes a lot of the biggest contradictions, according to Arthur Pink, the answer is because God wants to. That's why, because that's what a sovereign God would do. And really, the whole point is this. It's either one or the other. It's either God is all-powerful or the devil's more powerful. Because if you look at this world and say, well, look, evil's in control, so then that means it's either by God's plan or he is being overpowered. I don't believe the latter. I believe it's the former. But in all of this, I heard something. He was talking about sovereignty. And ironically, this topic comes up. What topic? Wealth. And I heard this yesterday. It's from Deuteronomy, and I just really like this. And I think it relates to the intro. Back in the OG days, even in Deuteronomy, they would talk about, again, this ability of getting wealth. Back in the day, they viewed it as simply a gift that God approved. So you got to watch out. This flirts with becoming prosperity gospel. But what I want you to realize is sovereignty and granting wealth. And what I mean by that is, my friend, the right opportunity will happen at the right time. If it happens, good. I think you should pay attention to why you are allowed to have good gains at this moment. If you weren't, may I ask you this question? Are you going through the same test or not? That's it. That's what you really got to ask yourself. But above all else, man, when it's all said and done, the real thing I'm getting at is amor fati. Why am I telling you sovereignty and granting wealth? Why am I even bringing up the Lord? Because here's my practical advice to you. Don't force anything. Oh, I don't know if y'all feel me, bro. That's what I mean. Don't force anything right now. I think this is the most practical advice you could get. That's why I'm even telling you coming into this morning, I would even have humility in what you think can happen. Again, a lot of people still believe in a high this is going to happen. This, it's okay. Oh, that's fine. But I need you to really understand that at any direction right now, I wouldn't really, I wouldn't make up your mind too much or be humble. You can go in either direction right now. And that's why when I'm saying if you will get granted with good, great, take it. You have bad, learn to handle it. Whatever you do, do not force it. That is how you are going to get destroyed right now. That's why, in a weird way, I think if you have been given a blessing, can you actually receive it? And you could do that by managing it well. But like I'm saying, I would handle whatever happens moving forward from here with a very amor fati attitude. We've already gone through this year with hundreds and thousands of opportunities, right? Or hundreds or thousands, not hundreds of thousands. But point is, you see it, but the weird way you're going to get destroyed in this environment is trying to get something that isn't for you. I.e., it doesn't work out the first time, it doesn't work out the second time, it doesn't work out the third time. What the fuck are you doing, bro? So are you hearing me right now? And like I'm saying, some things I think you'll be blessed with, and if it works and it matches up with your preparation, take it. I think today you got a gift, bro. We saw a fat pop. If it brought plays up, great. You got it or you didn't. It either gave it back to you or it didn't, or you sold it or you didn't. Great. It happens. Move on. You need a short-term memory, but above all else, do not force anything. What's yours will definitely be yours. Again, trying to get what's not yours, that is exactly how you wind into problems. That is how they spent 40 years in the desert. Again, this whole talk of the Lord granting wisdom, there was many parables of what happens when people try to force things. So if you're not understanding the practicality, I do believe finger to the sky. I think God has blessed some of us. Some people, you have been blessed at the right time. Some of you, I think you are being prepared for a bigger blessing. But above all else, the real practical, real life lesson, are you forcing what is for you or not? It is either the stars are aligning and coming your way with preparation or they aren't. But when they're not, do not go out of your way to force things to try to make something happen that wasn't there. So I think that's very applicable. But again, above all else, I mean, bro, this whole weekend, I will tell you, I was just thankful, man. And I was praying and I was very grateful for everything. And I just told God, bro, hey, man, you've already blessed me and whatever I'm supposed to do is in your hands. And that's it. Because this ability, that's why I was saying, like, bro, do I really know about the economy? Kinda. But I'm going to just do my job. I'm going to do what I think is right. I'm not going to force things. And yeah, bro, the rest is in God's hands. Why? Because that's what I've been doing so far, and it's gotten me very far. So I'm not going to change that plan. But also, too, we don't need to force anything. If it's not there, it's not there. You're going to move on. But you have to prepare. Because there's no such thing as, oh, what's mine is mine, but I didn't prepare. No, that's being lazy. So there's a really big difference. But above all else, man, this ability, this knowledge, and, the opportunities to take advantage of it and have great opportunities, that comes from the Lord, man. And if that happens, amor fati, if you are in that position, great, rejoice and take advantage of it. And if you're not, don't give up what you have trying to get an opportunity that wasn't yours. And if I'm telling you, if you could stick to it, it'll grow you in a way of maturity, and it'll be tough. But like I'm saying, it'll build up a discipline and hopefully, keep you from the opportunities that aren't yours. And when you get what's yours, it usually pays out pretty well. So enjoy that. But that is the first key. The second one now, in reading all of this and hearing again about sovereignty. And again, bro, the Lord does whatever he wants, man. Up, down, good, bad, you blessed or not, who knows, man. That's why I hope you're content with either direction. But there was something that really stood out to me, bro. And I got really excited about this. And even today, even this Philo, to come back on a Monday, this is just a praise, bro. Because, oh, man, I'm telling you, I'm reading all this old stuff about, like, Jesus and God and all of that. But I'm very excited, and I feel like, I don't know, this made me excited and happy that Jesus is still a modern concept. You know, because I be reading these books from like 100 years old. And I be reading all these theories and then seeing how much of life in the world has changed. But, bro, the fact that we still have a young generation of people turning to Jesus, you still have the older generation still spreading the stories. I'm still here reading. We were just reading Proverbs on Friday, bro. But yeah, no, that's why I'm like, man, we're in a world of AI, and as AI is getting talked about, so is Jesus. And I don't know, man, something about it, again, in relation to sovereignty and things being granted, I got really excited by that. I was driving, bro, and I'm listening to sovereignty, and I'm just like, wow, it like blew, like 2025, like, dude, Jesus on the up and up, Jesus at the center of the culture battle. That is still a modern concept, and that is a great, amazing thing. So rejoice in that, baby. But I hope you realize that at the end of the day, man, these practical principles from thousands of years ago, they're still in play. And I don't know, man, that brought a nice calmness to my heart. Because like I've been telling you, and people were asking me on Friday, and like I was telling you, what good is a principle if you can't turn back and rely on it? When things get rough, when things do get confusing, the goal is to fall back on a rule or principle that you could follow, and to know that these principles are as modern as ever, that even though they have withstood the test of time, are still applicable in this very moment. Oh, man. So, yeah, above all else, bro, if you haven't gotten the vibe from this Philo, man, I wish you peace. And no matter what happens, you should have peace in your heart, because whatever's going to happen, I think it's already destined. And you have a job, though. Your job isn't to just sit there and then, Lord, bless me. No, everybody has a work and everybody has a job, so you should pay attention. But don't force anything. Don't let your lesson be learning not to force things again. But other than that, baby, lock in. It's in his hands. And no matter what happens, what's yours is yours, baby. So take that one to the bank. That is your philosophy, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We're live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. Drop your thumbs up on the video. You're on mobile. Press hot chat. X out the chat. Hit the thumbs up button. Second link for the nightly watch list and main channel. First link for the Screamalites, Beat Comp, and Real Estate. Beep. Oh, yeah. A very simple Philo. Short and sweet. But you got to get it. Oh, yeah. Do you get it? That's why I said, man, I don't want these Philos. Please, if you're looking for a Philo, I charge you $5. You should go seek God and not the Philo. For real. But if you don't understand it, it's all in God's hands. So good luck. Because believe me, and if you were looking for something more rational, good luck. Because I am a Bible-toting nut job. And I believe all of this is in God's hands. So I'm excited. And I'm not going to force anything. And I'm going to amor fati. And I think that's you either walk away with heavy peace or not. But that's what it is, bro. Because we don't control anything. We could do our job and show up every day prepared. But yeah, man, everything is finger to the sky. And at this point now, what's yours is yours. But you gotta learn to live in that. You know what I'm saying? You got to really learn to live in that. And part of that is the day by day and the peace. And again, don't make your lesson be learning the same lesson over and over again. And what you're going to get is destined, baby. So let it happen or set yourself up to receive it. I don't know if they feel me, bro. Yeah, man. So I'm excited, bro. I'm been mad peaceful, bro. I even got my walk on the beach yesterday, too, so don't play me. Amen. Amen. Well, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, we got a lot of time. We have a lot of time on PHILO. I'll play some Uncle. We'll hang around, and then we'll free them out of Gen Pop once we get over it. Long time. Check me. Yeah. Dollar for the tacos, $1 for the chicken. Used to think life rough then, but now I'm reminiscing. Dream is feeling distant. Supposed to have her, shoulda had her, but now I have her. So frustrating, so irate. So I'm just saying, why the fuck we so patient? If this was 68, we woulda had a riot. Now you speaking for the people and they tell you be quiet. I ain't buying it. Little guy defend the MNC, anoint him at the DNC. Why your social movement always benefit the S&P? The first place to look for enemies. It's not your fucking family, nor your core beliefs. I hope you see the war beneath. Forget about the future, they say only grab what's in your reach. They ain't smiling at you, it's a battle and they showing deep. Taught you how to criticize, so wisdom stay beneath your feet. Man, I'm feeling overlooked. They ain't even hungry, but they telling us that we cook. Hard to read the room if you can't even read a book. Yeah, hard to fake a smile when they sewn our mouths shut. Fuck, we won't even hear this. You won't even feel this. Jealousy override empathy and realness. A corporation steal this, repackage it and reel it. Evil so fearless, they're so shameless, saying I'm blameless. The generation filming in the moment won't say shit. Why we call it brain dead when it felt
tariffs.
like I'm so dead, or maybe we just sold it.
EU Commission proposes 25% tariffs on U.S. goods to take effect May 16th. They remove bourbon from list of goods to face counter tariffs. So that's good because that means the EU, they're not going to respond back for another month and a half pretty much. Does that make sense? I hope you guys get that. Yeah, so that's coming out now. You got to pop, and bonds moving around too. Well, this is in response to steel too. EU Commission removes bourbon, then they propose 25% goods to take effect May 16th, but that's in response to the steel stuff. So it's a little positive. It sounded a little better. I thought it was more broad. But that just means it would have been a delay. But that I think it's only for steel and all that. So, yeah. Oh, shit. Okay, I'll give you one more. But yeah, that came out. I thought I'd read it. Nice. Good morning. Good afternoon. We're back. I haven't released the Chads yet, so we're there. You just got the EU Commission. They're talking about when they're going to implement their reciprocals. You bounced to the higher end. This is the highest you've been in a couple of hours. Those other plays are back up like 230. But yeah, man, this has been a wild day. I mean, it sucks because you're actually green. Meanwhile, everybody around the world closed deep red. But, yeah, we had one fake rumor, and now we've just been in this weird-ass zone waiting for the next update. I don't know why there is a bounce. Again, I think you're going to get a lot of that. I would encourage you to I would drop the, explanations. So don't look for an answer on everything because you'll just confuse yourself. Again, we're in peak volatility right now, and we're trying to figure out, it wasn't Black Monday. Just remember, Black Monday or bounce. So you are green. It wasn't as big as a bounce, but you got your bounce. But at the same point, I mean, everything is just going to change depending on the morning news. Gap up, gap down will be all dependent on trade policy and what we get. But today, after that rumor, it kind of got everything in a weird zone. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens by the end of today. We'll hear Netanyahu and Trump. They canceled that meeting, but I think they're doing some interview thing. And then we'll see what the Canadians do. How does China respond to the new 50% more tariffs? So, yeah, we'll see, man.
It just feels slow, but it's not. That's why I'm like, man, this is one of the biggest volume days. And like these moves, you don't really notice it, but they're massive. It feels really slow, but this is faster than any other day you've had. That's why, look at this. 185 million on the SPY right now, and it's fucking 10:50. We still got 2 hours left. So, yeah, this might end up being a little bit of an inflection point. We'll see. But, yeah, it's like volume's high. The swings are insane. I mean, you're up 0.9 right now on the NASDAQ, down 0.4. Russell's even green, and then Dow is the only one that is in the red right now. So, we'll see. ONON, that's the other one. I went with Nikes, but ONON. Remember, they have a lot of Vietnam exposure, but they're ripping. They were ripping on Friday, too. Again, the targets, all that. I dumped all of those, though, on that first, on the fake pop. But some of them are still going. So, again, Broadcom, a few others. Again, NVIDIA's doing great. I mean, they're still below 100. UK Starmer in phone call with Singapore Prime Minister Wong on Monday discussed tariffs and agreed there could be no winners in a trade war. Starmer agreed with Singapore that it is vital like-minded partners work together to maintain global stability, spokesperson says. China should respond by tonight. Tonight leading into the more, or we'll hear what they say. I don't know if they'll issue a actual response, but hypothetically, theoretically, you'll hear from them tonight. Well, I don't know. I think Trump is going to get way more aggressive. But then again, he just got really aggressive with China, and now you're up. But bonds are down. I don't think he likes this. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what happened around the election. If you guys remember how it was trading around, where was it? It was like right around this election zone. But you mean to tell me you're trading the same yields from a couple weeks ago and the market is down 15%? He doesn't like that. So we'll see. But I think, so I don't know. He already ratcheted up the rhetoric, but nobody really reacted. PPC on the high, Pilgrim's Pride. The bonds, like I'm saying, I don't even care why. I wouldn't get caught up in that. All I'm saying is bonds, you should watch them right now. That's all that really matters, because it's too early to tell anything. All I know, we don't know why bonds are doing that. I wouldn't waste my time trying to figure it out. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of hands in the cookie jar too. But when it's all said and done, like I keep saying, you just went down 15% and bonds are not moving. So at this point, it's either the market returns back to normal, or maybe the bonds will start moving unnormal or unnatural. So it's one or the other in my mind. And I'm going to take my risk on that. But other than that, it's too early to tell the answer. You'll find out. There's people bringing in a lot of theories, but like I'm saying, I think your answer, you'll find it out later, but all that matters right now is the wide divergence between what is going on right now in the market and how bonds and fixed income is responding to that. So again, what play did we just hit? So let me put it this way. I've never hit a HYG without hitting a TLT. So that's another one too. So usually when HYG drops, you usually get a bigger TLT move, except for when they both dropped here, but now the gap is too wide, and then it's different than 2022. Am I considering a Stream Alerts discount for people who watch the watch list? I am. I've already given away 2. So people who've contributed to the chat, and I know they watch, and I could tell, yeah. So I could give you a little quiz.
Mondays. I like Mondays. But yeah, I wouldn't get too caught up in trying to figure out the bonds. All you have to know is right now they're in two different neighborhoods, which is odd. I got membership because I kicked you? I didn't kick you. What do you mean? What members only? I only did it for Felo. How much time? It's all on the watch list. You guys got to listen. That's why I've been trying to like give you guys clues. I'm just trying to help you get to the answer, but some of you are fighting to not think on your own for it. But yeah, I've put all the details there. So just listen to what I've said. That's all. And there's a short window that it's just all a gamble, because if that window closes, if all this goes back to normal, then it's over. But for now, I would watch it. We just finished up Felo a couple minutes ago, and then now we're moving up. I was waiting. I wanted to, if there's any other questions, you let me know, and then we'll open it up. Again, there was a Vietnam rumor here. I made a play on Nike, but they kind of moved. But I should have went with ON. But ever since that, they started moving, and then we heard a little bit from the other places. No, I didn't respond to your email question. Because if I do, I'm going to get 10 more messages about, did you see my email? So that's why I purposefully ignored that. But then you kept spamming me it. So now I can't keep ignoring it without having to address it. But now someone else is going to be like, did you get my email? So yeah. But like I said, if I respond to your email, I'll respond to your email. And then we could keep it there. I don't promote life insurance as an investment, no. Sitting on her hand, that's not a bad idea. It's very hard to trade this. It's not easy, and I think by June, July, you'll have another set of opportunities as well, and we'll really know where things are going. But even then, long term, in the meantime, I do some paper trades, and you'll be fine. But we still have a lot of time, i.e. the end of the year, middle of the year, and then you got another 3 years of Trump. Well, I think the only weird part about today is that Trump-China escalation is huge. Again, just like I told you guys the day before, I was like, damn, he went hard on China. And then the market did the exact same thing, and we chilled, and then the next day they hit us back, and we died. That was just Thursday, Friday. But, yeah, that was big. But I think the weird movements, and then now so much uncertainty, we're just kind of in a weird, it's either going to hit you in the morning or not
Because, dude, we're frozen, like, low-key, even though this is a 9-point move, it's generally still the same levels or range that we were in prior. So very wild. If China responds reasonably, you think Baba rips? Possibly. I think if they cut everything down, we're going to rip 300 points. But if China hits back, that's it. I think then we'll get our limit down. But that's the crazy part, too. I don't know. It's kind of the elephant in the room. We should have limit down today, and we didn't. So that was the closest you've came to that big of a sell-off. And you mean to tell me we're green by 1% now? So that's kind of strong, but then again, I don't know how much of that's real. So we'll see. I mean, maybe you could just do a Baba straddle at this point, because it's either China rips a ton, if things are good or less than expected, or, again, death blow now that they've came back down. We did hit a new low today. Yeah, you hit a new low of the month, the week. Look at this. You gapped down, bro. You actually hit 20 points lower. So, yeah, on the board, on the record, you've gone a lot lower. And look at bonds. SPY hasn't really moved much there. But low-key, since, like, right here, bonds last how many minutes? Last, like, 15, 20 minutes, bonds have been going straight up. Still a lot lower, but then SPY has not really climbed out of that. But like I'm saying, that China stuff, I think that's I wouldn't call it a black swan, but a gray swan, because pretty much whatever happens with this China stuff and Trump, that's probably going to be the big mover between now and tomorrow morning. The only time we were red after 2 consecutive 4.5% declines was the Great Depression. Oh, no. It's an orange swan now. It's orange. Trump going live soon with Netanyahu. So they canceled one of them, but then they're just going into the Oval Office. Upcoming live. Yeah, bro. So watch the bonds. They moved a decent amount here, but dude, this is 9 points off of that little mini bottom below VWAP. So it's huge, but again, it just feels so slow with everything going on. All right. Well, it's 11. Let's do it. You guys want to free the chats? Because I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll play you some news. And then SPY just still dancing around. Otherwise, you put final questions.
Are global businesses.
God
they
bless
don't have
Chatadonia.
in one basket. Why is it so? Is that why it's so vulnerable?
That's the biggest reason why it's so vulnerable, is because U.S. multinationals have been at the forefront of driving globalization for the last 30 years, which has helped enable a tremendous margin expansion, which is the justification for U.S. valuations being enormously high. So you work through all of that and you say, oh my gosh, well, if how much global trade was responsible for the manifestation of elevated valuations is a key metric to follow. If global trade is reversing, if we're going into a deglobalized world where we no longer can take advantage of vertical supply chain specialization globally, that means U.S. multinationals are tremendously vulnerable. The other reason, and this is really just about this cycle specifically, is beta. When you move into a market corrective process, beta matters very, very much by country, by stock, by sector. The vulnerability of the U.S. is among the highest in the world right now because it was the highest, one of the highest market betas in the world coming into 2025. So you had two markets where betas were way north of 1, and that was the Netherlands and the U.S. On the flip side of that, you've got other markets that are much less sensitive to the overall trade, like Saudi Arabia, where the market beta is less than 0.5. And as of Friday, Saudi Arabia was still flat from the beginning of the year. So there are two big reasons why the U.S. is so vulnerable. One of them is just it's our place in trade. The other is just the dynamics of the market itself and market beta.
Your team put out a note, though, today, in terms of creating a portfolio that could maybe withstand this. 30-something percent, 34%
it's quite shocking.
of U.S. in a global portfolio.
Right.
If you go based on benchmark indices, we're at like 65% right now. That's a huge cut to allocations to the U.S.
And this is, I think, we've done a lot of work over the last 3 years about the inefficiencies of global benchmarks in terms of market cap weighting. It's just the wrong construct for thinking about how to invest in global stocks, mostly because the contribution of risk to the portfolio is so critically important to ultimately driving sharp ratios in equity market returns. And we get to a point where the risk contribution of the U.S. by the end of 2024 was gigantic. So our portfolio model was constantly leaning against the U.S. risk contribution. And the way that we define risk contribution is through volatility and correlation. So this kind of feeds back to that beta conversation that we had in a not so roundabout form.
Is risk more concentrated now than maybe what we saw in the lead up to the GFC issues, even going back? Okay, there's you've answered all my questions.
By very far. Our model is saying at this point in time, the U.S. is contributing so much.
I don't see the Trump live yet. I have one of the feeds, but where is this guy at? No, you got your other boy live, the Florida dude, DeSantis. But welcome back, baby. We're done with Felo. We're a little bit ahead of schedule. It's 11:10 Pacific time, 2:10 Eastern. Again, you don't have much on the calendar today. You're going to get a little bit more, and then Wednesday you'll have the CPI. So we'll see. Well, if you got an emergency cut, TLT would move right away. That's, again, I really think at this point the TLT will wake up when Powell does. Otherwise, if you just went through 10, 15% and it's not reacting, it might have made its mind up. So, like I said, and we'll find out here very, very shortly or in the next couple days or weeks. But I do think the next update is going to be this China thing. That's what caused the second reaction. And then we've been chilling since, but you've walked your way back from the edge, which is kind of crazy. Again, everywhere around the world sold off. Dow is still red. Russell just went red. But again, SPY and NASDAQ are green. CPI is Thursday? Oh, I thought I confuse my dates sometimes. Do I see the world pivoting away from the U.S.? No. It's everyone's still going to work together to a degree. I mean, you might have it. I would love to see what happens. I mean, I guess let me put it this way. Was there no other reason to abandon the U.S. before this? You know, it's like, why wouldn't they have done it prior? So I do think there's limits to it, but generally I do think that everybody is going to, you're not going to eliminate globalism. That's how I view it, I guess. You know, you're asking me about U.S. I just view it as globalism or not, more or less. And, you know, global trade is going to keep global trading. Why do I say that? Because even in the last 4 years, you've had China go through deflation, Mexico and Canada kind of take their spot in a proportion of like GDP in America, or how much percentage of goods of GDP is like from there. But when it's all said and done, you know, the global economy still did good, even with China falling off a cliff. People thought that would end it. So I don't think globalism will end, but if these tariff rates stay this high,
I think global trade is going to get a fundamental reshaping, and it will be different than anything we've seen in the last 100 years. But I still think you'll have globalism. It just will look different with different winners and losers, different actors, so on and so forth. But I don't think you're ending it. That's why, in a weird way, I think it's a little overblown to assume that. I mean, I don't know. I think there's a world where America can maybe play a different role, but it's hard to imagine a world where everybody operates without America. The China bonds, I'm more worried about Japan. They own more of our bonds. I mean, SPY's chilling. Bonds made a bigger move off of that, but we got about an hour 45. Well, there was Japan talks today. It seemed kind of aggressive, but yeah, if Japan dumps their bonds, that's what they kind of threatened, because they said their financial stability could get threatened by tariffs. But that is what I would be more worried about with our bond market. But again, that's what I was saying. Like, China 4 years ago already lowered it. USTR to say countries including Argentina, Vietnam, and Israel have suggested they will reduce non-tariff barriers. Written testimony seen by Reuters. Young Reuters. 50 countries have approached Greer to discuss tariffs. Written testimony. It's all from Reuters. I mean, it's crazy that fake-ass rumor caused the pop. This right here, like I'm saying, it feels like when we first got the tariffs. Trump just said he's going to raise China by another 50%, and everybody is kind of ignoring that because everything going on, or like the movement. That either means that China is going to hammer us tomorrow, or China, that's so high, China has to cave. But I think that there might be a follow-up from there. But again, I mean, at this point, we've already dropped 15% in 3 days, now 10%. But, I'd be humble and nimble on everything going on. Because anything, that's why I keep saying I'd be very cautious trying to, like, answer things, because you might just get a lot of moves. And, again, I don't think, I think be very humble and nimble because we've already moved a massive amount. Already having NVIDIA. Where's Apple? They were down 6. They're down 4. How much time do I have with my TLT place? Give me $1,000 and I'll tell you. Otherwise, please stop asking me. Thank you. Try to figure it out. You have so much info. Trump trade advisor Navarro, this is not a negotiation. What do you mean it's not a negotiation? It should go lower. It's like a game of telephone. Well, you had Trump say the comments. It's just the size is so big. I think that's the part that's easy to miss, is that you have that's it. We're moving so much. That's what I'm saying. Like, no matter what you think is happening, at the low of today, we moved 15% in 3 days. So that's kind of what you got to be looking at. Only thing China buys from us is chips on the good side. So I saw your other comment. Look into the capital account. Besant, I look forward with negotiations on tariffs with Japan. All right. Scott Besant now. So that'll be somebody who could talk and move some things. What time is it? You got a little bit of time. But again, you're getting a candle now near the high on Besant comments. Ooh, be very careful, though. That was another 5-point pop. Dude, I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, be very careful, though. You're kind of too late on some of the calls. Didn't move as much, but a lot of them just moved 50% on that move. Apple plans to source more phones from India. That's coming in now. So that could be in relation to the China. So the Apple's already popped up there too a lot. They had two. Yeah, literally. Apple's already doubled. Yeah, dude, that just like those other pops, like I'm telling you, if it runs, you'll be good and it could move a lot. But if you're not already positioned, even that little ass Apple pop is $2-3, but that doubled up options on the bid. So yeah, I think intraday plays you might be better off tomorrow. TLTs are still up. That's hilarious. Besant, I look forward to engaging with Japan. That's reiterating again. Yeah, there's the Apple headline right in front of me on the wire. Send more phones from U.S. India volume can offset higher China tariff. May reach up to, India iPhone supply may reach up to 50% U.S. market. Bro, volume, this might be the biggest volume day in years. You're going to do more than yesterday or Friday, 217 for sure. Yeah, at least this will be the biggest volume since 2022. Besant, over 50 nations have responded positively to Trump. They're all coming around with that whole 50 nation thing. All that volume to go nowhere, right? Yeah, but there's more. Just remember, you guys remember Bitcoin. Bitcoin did nothing on Friday. That was moving the most on the futures last night. I think there's going to be a lot more kind of coiling up. I think every time you get a rumor, it fucks up everything. I don't know if you guys could recall the last times we've had those rumor days, it messes up the whole day. So that's what sucks, because you had really big news, a really big reaction, but then literally a rumor caused a 300-point move. So, yeah, no matter what happens, it's still going to be a little choppy. TLT's holding premium. SPY's going. Look at the high ticker right now. You got short-term velocity about to max out. Yeah, you're really breaking out. This is the highest since the rally there. But then the SPY premiums are juiced. In most calls, even on individuals, EU considering 25% tariff on some U.S. goods and metals dispute. So that's coming out right now, too. All right, where's Netanyahu and Trump? Trump-a-rooney. Yeah, you're going to hear Trump again. He might say something, but other than that, I mean, you got an hour and a half left. Rubio emphasized reports of Pakistan's cooperation with illegal immigration. The play for deflation is staples. Not necessarily. The play would be cash. And then you'll get some other winners and losers, but really utilities, I think, would be the deflation winner. So I think the risk is deflation. I don't think we've confirmed it yet. But so don't put the cart before the horse. But that's what sucks about deflation. There's no real winner. It's hard. It gets extremely difficult when there is deflation. Both sides. I mean, those calls from them. Remember, I sold out of 1,000%er today. I still got free ones. Those are still up 200% because those have till tomorrow. Those weren't dailies. Those were a 1 day. Why wouldn't we be thinking agriculture plays for China? Because I'm worried about demand destruction. So at this point, we're talking some really high rates. Like, I'm not worried about wheat going up. I think if they start hitting agriculture, the SPY is going to go down another 10%, if that makes any sense. And then again, we'll see what happens at this point. You might get more bang for your buck on bonds. Only way to win deflation is hold cash and manage the bottom. Well, diversification is usually because winners and losers. Some are going to win, some are going to lose. Point with deflation is that it'll get very confusing. And that's why I don't confuse yourself now by trying to think of it before it's even here. Because that's a great way to get confused ahead of a confusing event. Is having a lot of preconceived notions that aren't really grounded in the reality of what's going on. White House Moran says Trump would welcome countries taking down barriers to U.S. exports. Says services are important, but U.S. has gotten tilted out of balance against manufacturing. Yeah, the consumer may win on deflation. In some areas, right? Some consumer areas might win, some may suffer. But that's what I'm saying. There'll be a lot. But we're not there yet. That's why let's see what we get to. Let's see if the tariffs actually stay high or not, and then whether we actually have to deal with demand destruction. Again, demand destruction will lead into deflation. But if that doesn't happen, then I think that all those conversations a little premature. At this point, we're just going through trying to figure out what's real with the tariffs or not, and then where we're going to settle, and then how the market will take that, and then where will rate policy settle too. That's the other big X factor with all of it. Trump is supposed to be going live with Netanyahu, but he's not live yet. Everybody's waiting for that to start, but no word. SPY's coming down. Again, this is the China headline. You're actually only a little bit above that, believe it or not. Yeah, bro. Oh, wow. UVXY came down to 38. Jeez. What was that at earlier? Oh, I guess it just came back down from the other day. Dude, what? They just jacked up all those prices? Oh, never mind. NVIDIA flush. All right. Coal, yeah, nat gas is moving. Just wait. Honestly, you just got to wait till Trump at this point. Either Trump or anything else. You got an hour and a half. I'm sure maybe Power Hour will move big or the final 10, but at this point, we're waiting. We're waiting, man. I think you're going to have to you need the market to close and reopen to get rid of that rumor effect. We'll see. But volume is probably going to be the highest of the year today. That's the crazy part on all of this. Oil moving. Well, SPY came down a little. Yeah, bro, you just moved $4. That's what I'm saying, bro. This is wild. Every single one of these moves. That's why tomorrow I think it'll reflect a lot better. But for now, it shows up a weird way. Why is Kroger, man? That thing is killer. Kroger is going up as like a value play, but again, the last like 72 hours, none of the value plays XLP. That's a lot different. Even though MO, actually MO's in the green now. Yeah, bro. 2 weeks ago, you couldn't get a $4 move would take you forever. Now it looks like a 4-minute candle. That's what I'm saying. This range, this is allowing the market to move so much right now, but I do think it is all a premium scheme. Yeah, bro, there's a 10% move, bottom to top at one point. Good times. Good times. Hour and a half left. So not bad. Again, we're waiting. What is this? Apple. Oh, I was like, is Tim Cook live?
And we're the U.S. Constitution. And we have now 27 states that have done that. If you get 34, then it can be submitted for ratification, and you need...
I'll play the other guy. I need to go to the bathroom. Follow me on Instagram at the Trading Fraternity. Good morning.
See these tape bombs that move markets. Now, you pointed out a lot of important details, but I will tell viewers, as you look at 2s and 10s right now on the same chart, and this goes back towards the 2nd of April, is that yields were already moving up. The stencil was in place even before those erroneous headlines, and that's really important. Now, as you look at that chart, you can see that big spike when the asset headlines hit that were incorrect. But do remember, it was hours and hours earlier that we hit some of the lowest yields. Well, the 2-year, briefly, get this, hit 343. If it would have closed there, that would have been the lowest yield close since SEP of 22. The 10s briefly traded under 390. And now as they sit, it's a 2-for-1 day. The 10s are up, 17, 18 basis points? Double the amount of basis points in a 2-year. And that is a key detail. Now let's look at a mid-Feb of 2022, Brian, 2s to 10s spread, because this is a key. The long-dated Treasury yields have a mind of their own today, and they really even did before the headline. They're moving up at a much faster pace. That spread in the mid-40s right now. That's the steepest the curve has been in 3 years. Why is that important? Because I've said many times that we could talk about flight to safety, and it occurs during these weird times of big volatility. But in the end, debt and deficits still matter. Guess what? We have auctions this week. 3s, 10s, 30s. Tomorrow will be 3s, followed by 10s and 30s. Why do I bring that up? Because in many investors' minds, this is going to be a key to watch how these volatile markets are going to respond to demand for investors at auctions at a time where, we are kind of somewhat picking some antagonistic situations from the type of allies that we normally have show up at our auctions. So we want to have real quickly the VIX. You know, the VIX touched over 60 today. And then when I first walked on the floor about an hour ago, it was down on the day. So that volatility is only second to what we were in COVID. 82.7 was the high on the VIX. During the credit crisis, 81 was the high. But this is huge. Watch the VIX in terms of 45. That's a key area for the close. Back to you, Sully.
Yeah, a lot going on. Certainly appreciate the wisdom and time. Rick Santelli, you're right. Got some breaking news. New comments on Twitter, X, from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Eamon Javers, what is he saying?
Well, Brian, the market's been looking for any indication of a negotiation ongoing, and Treasury Secretary Bessent now posting on X that there is a negotiation with at least one country. Treasury Secretary saying, following a very constructive phone discussion with the government of Japan, President Trump has asked me and the U.S. trade rep to open negotiations to implement the president's vision for the new golden age of global trade with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and his cabinet. The Treasury Secretary going on to say Japan remains.
Yeah, man, y'all talking smack about Santelli? Come on, bro. Come on. That's the Bond guy. He's not the Bond king technically, but always like a good Santelli. But not bad, man. You got an hour and 25 minutes. This SPY is painfully active and chill at the same time. My goodness. Just closed on your second house? Oh, let's go, baby. Thanks for encouraging us to invest responsibly. Providing the confidence to day trade strategically was funded by December sell-off. Hey, man, I think what I could applaud the most is that you are parlaying it into good things, bro. You know, way to turn it into a house, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Horn. Amen. For real, bro. That's why I kept thinking about it. You know, we were talking about it, too, at the beginning of the year. I was looking at the long terms, and I'm like, hey, man, if you guys want to sell your long term, just get a house. No? You don't remember that? Yeah. I'm glad, baby. I love it. Get a crib. It's good for you. It's good for you. Even then, I would keep planning that for the next couple of years. I think you're going to get a lot of opportunities with real estate. You know, when prices level out, these are where the opportunities come in. It's good for you. It is good for you. Are HELOCs good? No. Don't pull out any. So again, if there's a chance of deflation right now, the last thing you want to do is pull out money without a real good plan. So that's where deflation is going to hurt you, is people who spend money without a plan. That right there. So if you want to pull out money from your house and you have a ton of equity, I would not be doing that unless I had a monster deal. And that was the only way to do it. And that's okay. Like, if you found a house 50% off or got a really good house, pull your equity out and buy it and flip it. But I would not go and pull out money to use that as a down payment to buy a house that isn't a good deal. And, yeah, just be very, very mindful. How about for home improvements? No. I would not do that. Again, if you didn't hear what I just said, pulling out money without like a solid plan is where you're going to get screwed. So if you want to pull out money for a home improvement and you're not planning exactly how much it's going to be, is it worth it? Was it going to actually add value to your home? All those factors, I would really reconsider it. Or again, because I think we had this question the other day, and somebody was like, they wanted to pull out $100,000 and put it into their house, but I looked at it, I was like, bro, it won't even be worth it. $100,000 isn't going to raise the value $100,000. And if it did, that would be the most expensive house now in that area. So you have equity. Equity is a good thing. I would only use it for the right things. And that's another deal with guaranteed equity. Because then, boom, you could flip it, get good cash flow, then buy whatever you want. I would rather do that. Stumble across a good deal, use my equity, buy that house, flip it, and then with the profits from the flip, now you go remodel or do whatever. But unless the remodel is going to guarantee you a certain value and you're going to monetize it, just remember, you pull out money right now, you're paying interest, and interest is still high. So, and then if values change or anything happens, you don't want to pull out money at high interest, again, without a plan or unless it makes sense of how it's all going to come together and pay for itself. Well, Power Hour, we got 20 minutes. It's either going to play out like this, where we kind of get these like big but small moves, or maybe Power Hour, that's it. It could unleash the bulls or the bears, and then we'll get our final close leading into tomorrow. The wifey wants a new bathroom. Is that enough of a plan? I'm not going to answer that question because I already answered it. You're being difficult. So, man, just good luck. Don't be dumb. There's this your future and your family's. You got approved for the first home. They were impressed with the law term, baby. Hey, man, that's good. Somebody just said that they had a lender who was not down with the long term, but maybe it wasn't good enough. I don't know. But either that's good, man. I'm telling you. So far, or at least beginning of this year, end of last year, all the lenders I talked to, they were big fans of the long term. Yeah, they'll let you. I mean, some. I definitely think it's a case by case, but it depends on the type of loan, the lender. They'll let you use your long term. I mean, and then some will even view it as income, depending on how long you've had it for. NRXP, wasn't that a name back in the day? You guys remember NRXP? I feel like this thing was hundreds of dollars. Yeah. Wow. NRXP. Right? I forgot. They have a story. It's not coming back to me, but I vividly remember that ticker. Oh, man. Hold on. I need a water.
Of 1%. For on-demand news 24 hours a day, subscribe to Bloomberg News Now wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Charlie Pellet. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Hey, thanks for the update, Charlie. Do appreciate it. I'm Tim Stenbeck. That's Romaine Bostic in for Carol Masser. Yeah. When he speaks, Wall Street listens. I'm not talking about Romaine, but that's true. Okay. I'm talking about Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase Chair and CEO. He's out with his annual shareholder letter. In it, he urged a quick resolution to the uncertainty sparked by President Trump's tariffs. He also warned against a potentially disastrous fragmentation of America's long-term economic alliances. We've got with us Sally Bakewell. She's Bloomberg News U.S. finance team leader. Sally, 58 pages this year. And to be fair, there are a lot of charts and graphs, but there are also a lot of words in there. You were up almost all night reading the letter, writing about it. He covered a lot of ground. I noticed the word tariff appeared 13 times in there. That's where I want to start.
Yeah.
He's not a fan.
Well,
he's not a fan. He's not a fan. Alrighty, man. 18 minutes till Power Hour. It's crazy because you've actually moved 10 points in the last hour. It just looks like you haven't done anything. So, yeah, that's 10 points from here, man. Isn't that crazy? Bonds down 2.5. NASDAQ in the green by 3/4. SPY up 1/4. Dow down 1/2. And then Russell down 1/2 as well, too. Let's actually take a look
Dow Jones, 12 in the green, 18 in the red. That was 50-50 earlier. NASDAQ, 61 in the green, 40 in the red. That's still holding from after we did the flip. And then SPY, 196 in the red, 303 red. A couple names went red again. We've already talked about the bonds too many times, Eric. I swear you're here, but you're not here, or then you just ask to talk about it. But I don't know. But yeah, I swear, because your chat fact shows you were here. But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, you were talking about fountain blue massages, about bond auction. Yeah, so you were here. But we've discovered it. Like, we talked about it 15 different ways so far. Oh, no. Don't be sorry about having meetings. Being sorry about disrupting with the same question. That's what you should be sorry for. Just if you didn't know. I don't care if you have the meetings. I care about the chat. I still like UPS. Oh, you said US. US REITs? I like single family or medical. Or, I guess any REIT, but we need bond stability still. That's it. Bond stability for REITs, but I still like the UPS and all the value names. But like I said this morning, Amazon. If Amazon goes to the lower hundreds, then yeah, I would also want that for the long term. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm throwing it on my wish list. But yeah, and MTN, that was another one I was thinking of. Or Airbnb at 100. It was at 100 earlier. I was very considering it. So there's a lot of names out there. I have not added to the long term yet. UPS, that's it. The only risk with like UPS and Pfizer is that those yields are getting so high now, is that hopefully they don't cut it. Remember, I feel like we lived through the decade of everybody cutting rates and dividend aristocrats falling off, so be careful. But too, like I said, it's you either find a name that you want, you either have a name that you want to buy at a certain price and you buy it, or you wait until there's a pivot. That's it. Because now there's just too much damage, man. Like I'm saying, everybody wanted to be dramatic, and then Trump wanted to come through with a very aggressive policy, and it's damaged the market. That's why it's like at this point, you either wait till your individual names get to your price, or you wait till either Powell or Trump pivots policy, and then that's it. And then you're ready to go. Our Chad's super nice today. You sound really calm. The market, every 5% lower, I get like 30% calmer. So, yeah, I love it. I love it. I love the volatility. I've made a fuck ton of money, and I think we're going to have way more opportunities. And, yeah, it's a good time to be chill. I'm excited. There's a lot we don't know, too. So get ready. I think Trump will punk out if you got the right criteria. Again, bonds. If bond yields were down right now, Trump would be backing off. I could almost guarantee it. That's why it's funny, because I don't think they want to give him low bond yields to see how long he could keep this up. But yeah, that's all that really matters is the bond yields. And then I think him and Besant will start being nicer. But other than that, yeah, it's going to be... without the bond yields, I think it's a different story. Done so much without knowing. Hey, man, the law term, baby. The law term. The law term will let us know. When it's all said and done, you'll either walk away with a house in law term or not. Geo and CXW, Trump aims to spend $45 billion to expand immigrant detention. Those are moving. CXW and Geo prison stocks. So New York Times, I see that. That's confirmed. And then UBS downgrades all machinery like Caterpillar. But yeah, prison stocks are moving. $45 billion announced for immigrant detention. Remember, I made a play on that at the beginning. You guys remember that?
at the beginning of the year. That ended up hitting, but it was rough. I remember it like lagged and then it hit. I agree. The Trump put isn't in equities but yields. That's where I think he stops. But then that's why I think the market is trying to, like, again, why is Larry Fink trying to keep bond yields so high? Now, granted, it's funny because that sounds like why? But, like, what do you mean? A banker trying to keep high bond yields? That makes a lot of sense. But I do think the market thinks that Trump caves at, like, a price point on the SPY, which, after today, you've broken every one of those levels that anybody has forecasted. But it's going to be in yields. I think once the yields are there, then, or maybe TikTok, but yields especially, I think he'll chill. X is going up. Remember, it was popping from that first headline in the morning. Do I think China will give in? I don't know. That's it. We don't need to, you guys realize we don't need to predict anything. All you have to do is just know what's happening and respond to it. That's why even right when the tariffs came out, I was telling you, wow, that was a bomb for China. So at this point, there's zero value in prediction. Just look at it. You can't even play it without knowing either way. But so I have no idea. I'm genuinely, that's why I'm saying I'd rather be humble and nimble. I'm not trying to box myself in, but it's one way or the other. You know, if it goes in one way, we have one good scenario. If it keeps going in the negative way, then we still have a negative process. So that's all I'm waiting for. If China doesn't cave, more downside. If China caves, upside. So that's all you need right now. Predicting it isn't going to help you. Knowing the reality when it strikes, that's going to make you money. That's why I'm saying, really, even today to tomorrow, the question is, you play or you could straddle China reacting to what Trump did today. That's leading into tomorrow, as we have now, like 1 hour and 9 minutes. White House Moran says Trump tariffs could have significant impact on China economy, and they have limited capacity to absorb that pain. White House dollar dominance is a great thing, but has some side effects that could be problematic. Good morning. What up, Jake from State Farm? It's afternoon, right? We say afternoon. Good afternoon. Good morning, good evening, good night. Well, it doesn't matter if it's closed. You're just going to gap into that. Remember, all the plays we hit last week were all off the gap. I would hit random-ass news plays, but my UVXY, we hit 2-3 sets of those, all off the gap. TLT, all off the gap. And then there's one more, one of the SPY plays, or the puts or calls. So that's all I'm saying. We're like intraday, the premiums go crazy. You might get individual news, but now as far as the big policy that's going to probably gap us down 3-4% up or down is going to be whatever China decides to do to what Trump said today. Or if EU or anybody else comes in. But like I was saying on the watch list here, China and EU are the most important ones. What do I think China will do? I know English. No, I do not know. I don't know how many. I'll learn to tell you guys in many languages, but for now, I have no idea. I'm not in the business of trying to figure that out. VIX is still at 47. What do you mean it's green? It's at 47. VIX is literally the Fed can cut rates right now, and that wouldn't even violate history. That would be normal. That would be historically a normal situation, as wild as that may sound. But yeah, very, very crazy. Oh, where is gold? Yeah, gold is still down, though. That means gold hasn't even had a day to come back up. But SPY is dropping a little. You are literally at the China price from where all this stuff came out. Or the first Trump comment. Everything. Not only, well, now it's NASDAQ barely green. Every SPY barely red. NASDAQ or Dow and Russell down 1. And then you also have bonds murdered. Welcome, Nolan. How you living, baby? Happy Monday. This is only Monday, too, you guys. So, Moran says, can't say if any tariff deal will happen before reciprocal on April 9th. Discussions will be up to Trump. Did Trump, he didn't go live from the, what's it called? We haven't heard from him and Netanyahu yet. So yeah, that's still lagging. They canceled one of them, but then they said that they're going to do another. So they canceled the press conference, but then they scheduled the Oval Office, and then that was going to come live. But then that's been 30 minutes behind. Your frequent reminder that Trump is the Antichrist? Okay, just humor me. Pop quiz. Which Old Testament writer could be somebody that forewarned all of Revelations? So if you're so concerned with the Antichrist, what book in the Bible in the Old Testament came before Revelations and talked about all of the beasts and everything else? It's actually referenced as one of the mysteries, a mysterious letter. You're not sure? Well, go figure that out before going on the internet telling people about the Antichrist. Okay? See, there you go. Some constructive criticism with info to get smarter and learn about it. And that way you could grow in it and learn before preaching it. All right, man, you're coming down. If any tariff deals, yeah, you have the Iran reciprocal comments, but that's it. What book is it? I'm not going to tell them. You got to go figure that out. All right, at VWAP. Just so big, but it looks like you're crawling. What a fun day. The VIX is up. Again, premiums kind of went up. They're just literally widening the spreads. That's the scary part. But then again, watch. This bounce will be another like 2 points. And then that'll wipe everything out. Today, I mean, this move was made the most money. I'm glad though, because every other move was kind of trappy. I did do some individuals, but I made a fuck ton on this move. They gave me all of my shitty calls back, any of my calls that I made, like a good portion that were red, I got to walk away with 50 to 100, 300% on some of them. I can't believe that. So, yeah, that was still a good day, but I think that fucked everything up. I think that messed up the pricing, and now I think it's leaving us with this weird China hangover coming into tomorrow. Oh, I guarantee. I bet you Trump and Lutnick and Bessent, they're sitting around watching TLT like a full-blown Chad. And they're like, this is bullshit. It's rigged. I'm telling you, it's rigged. Look at that. It won't even go up. Watch what I do. Watch what I'll do next. That's it. Call Powell. Tell him, look at that. This is bullshit. This gets manipulated. Fake news. Come on. You know damn well they are, though. Because I feel them, though. I would be looking at it, too. I'd be like, what? Mm-hmm. Well, that sucks. They're just going to wipe out my puts to my call hedge. Little scammers. I think they're already dead. Yeah. They already wiped everything. That's it. Just slow burn, move. This just killed every play. Any intraday play got wiped. And that's on top of paying hundreds of dollars for $20 out of the money. That's it. They just slowed the clock down after that major move. Should you sell your call? I don't know. I could tell you to repent. I think you should repent, but anything else I can't really advise on. But it is Power Hour. 30 seconds in, baby. So welcome. And then Spy got a little candle. Powell goes by data and jobs report. He's not reacting to the pissing contest. Nice. So can you explain why he cut rates ahead of the election then? I'll wait. Chamber of Commerce is considering suing Trump to the admin to halt global tariff assault. I mean, you're moving at the start of Power Hour, but I don't see anything else. So I don't think you have any news. But that's a big pop. They just welcome to Power Hour. So we had wiggle room. Oh. Well, that's a very nice assessment. And then very harsh towards the current one. But I don't think, I agree with you, but I can't agree with you because Powell cut for no reason ahead of the election. And to justify it, I think is very politically biased. So, convenient to overlook that. God bless. Trump team considers exporter tax credit to offset tariff risk. Okay, now we're talking. Yeah, hold on. That's another rumor. You're getting big volume, small. It might do this, where you get a pop, come down, and then it'll carry over. That would be big. Export, pretty much, that would be another off-ramp. So if you get a tax credit for exporting, then there you go. Or depending on what you have to pay for the tariffs, if you get a tax relief, then that would be generally bullish. But, again, still hard. They probably did slash the call premium, but then again, you just moved a lot. These are $1 moves. That's why it could literally slash in half, and it makes sense because it's moving dollars at a time. Holy shit. Oh, that's a daily. I'm like, no way. That's mad cheap. But all the calls are just holding the same floor. So all those plays I bought in the morning, those went up. The ones that went up 1,000%, every call is holding. So go look at every call. You'll notice it has this little ponytail. I don't know what to call it, But this was the original price, but then they won't go past this like new floor. If that makes any sense. It's probably going to be a rumor. So exporter tax rumor. I have no confirmation, but people are going to try to circulate that as a bullish thing. I don't even think the market's going to move. I think it'll move officially after the bell or once we get like an announcement. Do I think China caves? I don't know, but I would play both ways. I don't know if that's what you guys are asking me, because I've answered it a couple of times, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I don't think that answer will even help you. I think you should just play both ways if you want to, because again, the range is so wide right now. That's it. So good luck, but I don't think even if you knew the right answer, how you set up your play in tomorrow, yeah, it might go a little wild. Everybody running with the rumor again. Just be careful. That one, I still think everything will happen after hours, like I'm saying. If this one's going to hit, it's going to play out like this. You're going to have the little pop, drop, stay pinned for 10 minutes, and then it'll start to tick up, and then we'll start running. Codelco talks with Saudi Arabia on copper and lithium in India. Would I play TLT? Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been saying the last 48 hours. But it's on you to figure it out. Amen.
Order could stem from this. I think there's a lot, that needs to be sorted out, and that's part of what makes this. Part of what makes this such a difficult investing backdrop.
Give me a sec.
You've got declining earnings expectations, and you have a bunch of tail risk scenarios out there that you need to be contemplating.
You need a huge fan chart when it comes to earnings expectations going forward in these earnings. Are you buying the dip anywhere in your coverage?
Well, we're still thinking more about playing defense. I think the best offense is a good defense. That's our framework right now. Right now we're looking across our portfolio, trying to consolidate in our favorite names. I will say, for longer term capital, there's some interesting opportunities that are starting to present themselves. I think we're starting to get to fundamental levels for some really high quality, durable, compounder type names that we haven't had a chance to buy previously, or we've had difficulty adding to them previously, that are starting to get to really interesting levels. So we're not quite there yet. We're focused more on defense, but at a certain point, I think it's going to be time to play offense again, and we'll see when that is.
I am curious, though, some of your holdings, and we've had you on to talk about, particularly with some of the big tech names, I am curious about their global exposure, because there's been a lot of talk that even if this trade war, whatever we want to call it, starts to settle down here, you clearly have an administration that wants to see, I guess, a more homegrown, if you will, economy. And yet you have some of these tech companies that are clearly positioned for a global economy, whether it's their supply chain or whether it's their customer base. And I do wonder how you invest going forward with the possibility that might have to be rethought.
I think it's case by case. Every company has different dynamics, but one point on this topic that is sort of a response to your earlier point, who knows what's going to happen in terms of foreign governments how are they going to crack down on some of these U.S. companies, if at all? So I think there are unknowns out there that, there could be just higher taxes of doing international business in this post-Trump tariff world. We'll have to see. But I think generally big tech companies as a starting point, they're not by and large not going to be as impacted mechanically by tariff rates. I think they are impacted by any sort of trade war. No one's a winner in a trade war. But these are generally high margin businesses. High margin businesses are going to do better than low margin.
Yeah, TLT is actually a little higher now.
With pricing power are going to do better than not. So by and large, I think they've also taken a lot of pain. They're trading at valuations that are, lower than they've been in many, many years. So as a starting point, seems an okay sandbox to be playing in. But
what about tech spend? Like, does tech spend migrate to AI from cloud? Does it go to a different spot? Does it pull back altogether? Because that ripple effect could be brutal for the companies that you guys own.
TLT's not
it's more of
It's just
generally IT budgets
dying.
are pausing right now.
Still in
have
the hospital.
Potential to pull back.
Nothing's meaningful right now. Until you break out of higher than here or lower than here, nothing counts. Because it's not even moving the premiums. That's it.
Wallet. It's just the wallet could be pausing or shrinking this year, depending on the magnitude and duration of this trade war.
How much sleep are you getting, John?
Well, after White Lotus last night, not a lot.
Well, he's really touting that. All right, John, thanks a lot. John Belton, Portfolio Manager, Managing Director for Growth Portfolios at Gabelli Funds. We really appreciate that. So CEOs under pressure, global tariffs threaten to raise costs, squeeze profit margins, and ultimately boost inflation. Now joining us for a read on leadership and sentiment is Kevin Kajiwara, co-president of Political Risk Advisory.
Well, thank you. Passed my real estate exam on my first try. Wow. Oh, now you got the state exam? Oh, let's go, baby. Let's go, though. Oh, hold on. Still enough. I was like, that's really good. We were just talking about people failing that, man. So let's go. You got the first one out the way. You still got to pass the state one, but that's very good. Very, very good. W commitment and just way to make use of it. Nikkei is reporting on the Besant to lead U.S. tariff talks with Japan and the yen on the agenda. And then you got 50 minutes remaining, Chattadonia. You are now on VWAP, but like I'm saying here, even bonds are moving and all of that. But until you break out of this China range, I don't think any of this shit matters. Literally, I hope you guys see why. Straight up, just we haven't moved out of here all day. This was middle of the day, and now we're in power hour. But every little headline and other rumor after the China and then the fake rumor, you're not getting enough to go beyond there. Even though it is 10 points, it's still a large amount, but it feels now small in the context of the whole day. But everything's back to negative now. So I think it'll be important whether or not we close red or green. That'll, again, even historically after selling off as bad as we did, a red day would not be a good sign. You don't think Trump wants China to cave or expects it? I don't know. I have no idea, and I kind of agree with you. But I do think that whenever they come to an agreement, you saw the sample of that today. It's going to be massive. Until then, we're going to keep getting the barrage of negative headlines. And again, if it does escalate and nobody walks it back, I mean, we've already dropped a lot without that, but I still think there is that risk of playing this tit for tat game. What was that one? New FTSE Bitcoin index futures? Yeah, you had what was it? CME shut down today. 5K is the psychological level. Yeah, we're barely above that. I think after closing 4.5 red days, that's it. You have to close green, otherwise it's terrible. Again, just even I think this is a blend of every historical moment, as weird as that is. That's why we've already overshot
most people's estimates. Their low targets, the puts, everything. So it's kind of wild. The Dalio, is it the one from a couple days ago? I read one of them, which was very interesting. We're way off the 200-day. It's nothing like before, but a mix of all. Just because right now like I'm saying, if these tariff rates don't change, then you have to prepare for a global system that nobody has seen in 100 years. That, I think, is the reality. If it doesn't change. If it changes, then I don't know where we're going to end up. But it's not going to be there. So we'll find out. But when it's all said and done, there's a lot. But now the market is this is kind of lately, this is what I was saying when I first noticed it. This is a bomb. And now everybody is reacting. It didn't help what Trump did, and it didn't help everybody overreacting. And now you are down again. We touched 15% down in 3 days. All bets are off now. That's what I'm saying, is that you have done enough damage to sentiment that in a weird way we're kind of I wouldn't say flying blind, but this is kind of uncharted territory that we're approaching. And again, that is exactly why I believe a TLT with a decent risk to reward and budget is worth it right now. But other than that, it's just still again, I don't think you've just moved too much now that all bets are off on or up. A bit bigger, worse, anything could happen now at this point, because you've already moved so much in a short amount of time that, again, the sentiment, the foundation is kind of already cracked or swayed to a degree. That's why let's see if anybody pivots with rates or anything like that, but that'll be the next big one. But for now, it's just insane. Did I see Ray Dalio's article? Are you like fucking with me? Because I just finished answering that question right there, and then we went on to the other talk. But no, I haven't seen the new one. Jeez. I think someone's fighting with the bond market. Not to mention, it's like either they're fighting it or there's just a lot of supply that already existed. Trump live? Oh, I just saw a White House one, yeah.
We had lunch together, we had meetings together, along with his very capable staff. And I think we've come up to some pretty good solutions and conclusions. And we'll be working a little bit after this, and then
this is already recorded. No headlines came from it.
Stop in and out, but we appreciate you being here, and we are a friend of Israel, as you know. I would say that I'm by far the best president that Israel has ever even thought of seeing, and it's an honor to be so, and to be so thought of. Many friends in Israel. They are not in an easy area. It doesn't go easy, but we are helping them. And likewise, they've been helping us very much. And so we'll see how it all works out. But we had great discussions today, I think, on the obvious subject of Iran, and also the less obvious subject with respect to Israel, and that's trade. And I think the Prime Minister is going to tell you a little bit about trade and what they're doing for the United States. So I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. And
thank you.
Benjamin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Don. Thank you. Mr. President, I want to first thank you for inviting me again to the White House. You've been a remarkable friend of the State of Israel. You stand by us. You're standing with us. You are a great, great champion of our lives. And you actually do the things that you say you do. And I think that people respect that enormously. I certainly do, and the people of Israel do, and I think the Jewish people do as well. We just saw your representative in the Department of Justice fighting anti-Semitism, standing up for Israel in international forums. I just want you to know from the heart, it's deeply, deeply appreciated. As you said, we had the opportunity to talk today about many subjects. First, if I can mention tariffs, it's a subject of some interest today. I can tell you that I said to the President a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same. I recognize the position of the United States. It says, you know, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us, but we don't put tariffs on them. And, you know, I'm a free trade champion, and free trade has to be fair trade. And I think that's basically the position that you've put forward, Mr. President. We are going to
No, the 90 days thing is fake.
And rapidly. I had the opportunity
that was this
to speak
pop
to,
and drop here.
Secretary Lutnick yesterday. We talked about how we could affect this quickly, and I hope to bring a solution very quickly. We're not talking about intentions. We're not talking about, you know, just words. We're talking about results. And those results are going to come back. That's the first.
Thank you very much. It's very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, what about the hostages deal?
Well,
what about the hostages?
Let him finish.
I didn't finish.
Okay.
I'm going to begin. We spoke about not only the hostages, but about Gaza. The hostages obviously is a human story of just unbearable agony. I speak to the families. I spoke to them yesterday. Spoke to another one when I was in Hungary before I came here. I speak to them every day. They're in agony. The hostages are in agony, and we want to get them all out. Steve Witkoff.
Yeah, the Vietnam thing is already, that was in place since Friday. Nobody talked about the Taiwan thing. Taiwan said 0-2.
Another deal that we hope will succeed. And we're committed to getting all the hostages out, but also eliminating the evil tyranny of Hamas in Gaza and enabling the people of Gaza to freely make a choice to go wherever they want. I mean, they should have that choice. And the president put forward a vision, a bold vision, which we discussed as well, including the countries that might be amenable and are amenable to accepting Palestinians of their free choice if they choose to go there. And I think that's the second thing that we discussed. But the hostages came right on top. We also discussed the situation in Syria. We've had neighborly relations with Turkey that have deteriorated, and we don't want to see Syria being used by anyone, including Turkey, as a base for attack in Israel. Turkey is a country that has a great relationship with the United States. The president has a relationship with the leader of Turkey. We discussed how we can avoid this conflict in a variety of ways, and I think we can't have a better interlocutor than the President of the United States for this purpose. And of course, we also discussed Iran. Look, we're both united in the goal that Iran does not ever get nuclear weapons. If it can be done diplomatically in a full way, the way it was done in Libya, I think that would be a good thing. But whatever happens, we have to make sure that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. That's the end of my speech.
Mr. President,
We're having direct talks with. Wait. We're having direct talks with Iran, and they've started. It'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully those talks will be successful. And I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are successful. We hope that's going to happen. And we had just a lot of good talks on a lot of things. I appreciate very much what you said about the tariffs. We've been ripped off and taken advantage of by many countries over the years, and can't do it anymore. Just can't do it anymore. We can't be the stupid people anymore. And it's all because of the people that sat in the seat right here. Not your seat, but this seat. They allowed things to happen to our country that they shouldn't have allowed to happen on trade and other things, many other things. I mean, look at what's happened with our last president, where he allowed millions of people to come into our country with an open border. Who would want an open border? How stupid was that? But he allowed millions and millions of people, and of the millions, and I think it was 21 million people, but let's say 3 of them were serious criminals.
Yeah, it's so weird. None of this was released beforehand.
And gang members and people from jails.
So they switched it. This said moments ago. Now it says live. And then all of these comments are hitting live right now. So apparently this is live, but I don't think it is.
But generally speaking, on the southern
border. Yeah, all this shit's coming through the wire.
What a shame it is that we are now working very hard to get them out, get the criminals out, get the murderers out, the drug dealers, the mentally insane, get them out. They dropped the mentally insane in our country too. And this was all done by the Biden administration. It's a disgrace that we have to work so hard. And then we have judges that try and protect these people, but they didn't protect us when the people were being let in. But to get them out is never easy with these people. So I think we're doing a great job. The border is the best it's ever been. It's even as strong as it was. I had a great, solid border. I think it might even be tougher right now and stronger. So people are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. We have a legal process, and we have that moving
Bond's a
along
little.
properly, 'cause we need people
I
to
think
come
this
into
is
our
a little
country,
bit
but we want
behind, but I'm
people
assuming
that
the
love our
wire's going to
country,
pick up
cherish
anything.
our country. So that's where we are. And with that, any questions?
Mr. President, the European Union to the markets today, and would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many, many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals. And in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals. As you know, I spoke this morning with the Prime Minister of Japan, and we had a very good conversation. They're coming. And I said, one thing, you're going to have to open up your country, because we sold no cars, like 0 cars in Japan. And they sold what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on.
Just sounds like
so
shit.
They've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen.
I feel like he's in the room with me.
Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they'd make on us on trade, and it shouldn't be that way. And I have a great relationship with President Xi. I hope it's going to stay that way. I have great respect for China, but they can't do this. We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do this, what I'm doing. And I'll tell you why.
That is true.
It's an honor to do it, because we have been just destroyed what they've done to our system.
I'm surprised the market's not dumping on this. Just him going into, they asked him about the market. He's like, I love this. Nobody will do this. We need it. Tariffs are great.
Talking to China, we'll be talking to a
Oh.
lot of different countries. And I think, if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. It's now America first. And we didn't put America first. We put America last. The people that were
Dude,
in the
BB
Oval
is
Office
so
put
good
America
at
last.
staying still.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
2 questions. Do you expect any of these deals to be made before April 9th? And secondly,
Good question.
there have been some mixed messages from your administration. You're talking about negotiations, and yet others in your administration are saying that these tariffs are actually permanent. What is the action?
Well, it could be. They can both be true.
Fuck.
There can be permanent tariffs, and there can also be negotiations.
Yeah,
because
that's
of the things
very
that we need
uncertain.
beyond tariffs. We need.
Like I'm saying, you give me the answer to that question, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Until we know, we don't know.
Some of you remember it during my
Yeah,
first term.
he's reiterating the China threat. It might hit again.
Great deal. $50
Watch out.
billion
Watch puts right now.
Product was sold. 50
See if you get a reaction. Otherwise, we're done for the day.
that
But he's
deal, but
reiterating the
it wasn't the deal that I
50% thing. That's not good.
The deal that I wanted was that, plus they were going to open up China so that our companies could go into China and compete with other countries and China for a large number of people. And at the very end, that deal was terminated, and we went to a piece of the deal. And so there are a lot of things outside of tariffs, but tariffs are very important. But there are a lot of things like opening up countries that were totally closed. China's essentially a closed country. In fact, it is a closed country. And what they do is they charge tariffs so that if you sell cars or if you sell anything, nobody's going to buy it because the price is out of control. But that's true with a lot of other countries also. So we're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country.
May the Lord rebuke you, okay?
To do with them. They're not going to be allowed to participate.
That's how I feel about your prophecy. Not me, but may the Lord rebuke you, okay? Humble yourself.
Hold it. Just relax. We have time. This gentleman is all day long.
Mr. President, many of thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, come on. No. That one was quick, too. What happened, bro? I think they had to lag it. But yeah, you didn't get an extra reaction from that other one. I thought you would. Oh, resuming shortly? What the hell just happened? Bro, what the hell?
No hostage deal. Do you have any update on that?
Well, I'd like to see the war stop, and I think the war will stop at some point.
Yeah, it's down on the White House website, too.
Distant future. Right now, we have a problem with hostages. We're trying to get the hostages. Really damage them badly. These were people shooting down ships and other things, by the way. Really damaged flying objects like airplanes.
Okay.
And we
This is back up.
We've put a major hurt on the Houthis, which nobody's been able to do. We've really hit them hard. And
He says if there's no fair deals, nations can't participate in the U.S. That's not good.
their leaders and their experts.
So during all that, he threatened to pretty much cut off whoever.
But they make missiles. They're highly sophisticated and they're very tough, but they've been very badly damaged. Nobody else was able to do that but us. Pete, you want to discuss
Houthis.
that?
Yes, sir. It's been a bad 3 weeks for the Houthis, and it's about to get worse. It's been a devastating campaign, whether it's underground facilities, weapons manufacturing, bunkers, troops in the open, air defense assets. We are not going to relent. And it's only to get more unrelenting.
He thinks he's saying a toast right now.
They will stop shooting at our ships. And we've been very clear with the Iranians as well.
He's going to end it with cheers.
They should not continue to provide support to the Houthis, and that message has been made very clear. So we have a lot more options and a lot more pressure to apply, and we know, because we see the reports, how devastating this campaign has been in them, and we will not relent.
We have a great military. There's no military like our military. And despite Biden having given a lot, but nevertheless a pretty small piece, but it was a lot of our military away in Afghanistan, and one of the dumbest situations I think.
And you're still hugging VWAP, 29 minutes remaining.
Been involved in that short period of time in Afghanistan. What a disgrace that was, but left a lot of our military behind. Left. You see them in their annual parades, where they're parading trucks that are armor plated and different things that they can't. But it's many billions of dollars we left behind. But despite that, we have a tremendous military. That was a very small portion, because we rebuilt the military during my first term, and we have great things happening with our military. We also essentially approved a budget, which is in the facility, you'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion. And nobody's seen anything like it. We have to build our military.
Craig!
We're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build, and we have to.
X is still going up. That's been all day.
Out there now. So we're going to be approving a budget. And I'm proud to say, actually, the biggest one we've ever done for the military. We're cutting other things that were under Doge, but under a lot of other. When you look at a woman getting $2 billion for environmental, and it had nothing to do with environmental, and they had $100 in the bank, and they give her $2 billion. Many of those cases, all that stuff is going to be cut out.
Ripperoonie at 32. Hold on.
Under order now, the likes of which we've never had before. We've never had the kind of
nothing else moving in currency land. Not just this SPY, but Bro, that's a stick. That's 20 points.
In many ways, too bad that we have to do it, because hopefully we're not going to have to.
Yeah,
use
that's
it.
crazy.
But, the military is very, very powerful, and
so see if that, like I said, if you break out of the range, things are going to move.
High level, very high level, yeah. We're dealing with the Iranians. We have a very big meeting on Saturday.
All right, SPY still working. This is flirting with break even on the SPY. NASDAQ, again, just barely holding green.
Dealing through other countries. No, we're dealing with them directly, and maybe a deal's going to be made. That would be great. It would be really great for Iran, I can tell you that. But hopefully, we're not going to have to get into that. We are meeting very importantly on Saturday at almost the highest level, and we'll see how it works out. Please.
How do you ensure, Mr. President, that these tariffs don't drive U.S. trading partners into the hands of the Chinese?
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. If they want to be in the hands of the U.S., they don't want to be in the hands of the Chinese. And, the Chinese have turned out to be really not very good at that. People that are with us, they're with us. But we cannot be taken advantage of any longer. I used to watch these deals for years. I've been talking about it for years. You know, I've been talking about it for 35 years, how our country is being ripped off. I mean, 30 years ago it was Japan, then it was something else, then it was another group, then it was China. China's doing the best job of it, frankly. And it's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Well, the EU, no, it's not. The EU has been
no, it's not.
Over the years. It was, I always say, it was formed to really do damage to the United States in trade. That's the reason it was formed. It was formed with all of the countries from Europe, I guess most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And they formed together to create a little bit of a monopoly situation, to create a unified force against the United States for trade. So they have NATO, which is largely the same countries, and they took advantage of us dollar-wise and militarily until I got there. You know, I was able to get $600 billion from NATO.
Bro, that's crazy. Bro, that's a 50-point move off of the last 5 minutes.
We're paying them to guard them
wow.
militarily, and they're screwing us on trade. So that's not a good
This is magnificent, bro.
So now it's really turned around. It's the opposite. And the European Union's been very bad to us. They don't take our cars, like Japan in that sense. They don't take our agricultural product. They don't take anything practically. And yet they send millions of cars in a year, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMWs. They're sending millions.
Yeah, nobody has any questions for Netanyahu.
But we don't have a car that's been sold to the European Union or other places, but let's go for the European Union. And it's not going to be that way. It's got to be fair, reciprocal. It's got to be fair. It's not fair. We have a deficit with the European Union of $350 billion. And it's going to disappear fast. And one of the reasons and one of the ways that that can disappear easily and quickly is they're going to have to buy our energy from us because they need it. They're going to have to buy it from us. They can buy it. We can knock off $350 billion in 1 week. They have to buy and commit to buy a like amount of energy. And we have that. You know, we have more energy than any country in the world. I don't know if you know that. He knows everything, but the one thing he may not know, we have more energy than any country in the world. We have more of every kind of energy, every form of energy. From
I mean, he's talking EU, and it's slightly going up. Again, we are getting into end of the day, and you've had this weird move, so I do think the final, like, 10 minutes, you might have a lot of movement in either direction. Meanwhile, he's talking, so head on a swivel, eyes peeled.
Now they're doing a coal plant a week. China
I should go in the bathroom real quick before this ends. 20 minutes left, 23 on the day.
They're opening 2 major coal plants every single week in China, all over China, and then we're not allowed to use coal. Well, we have clean, beautiful coal more than anybody else. We have oil and gas more than anybody else. We have the most energy of any country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including everybody, by a lot. And I took it to number 1. We were number 3, and I took it to number 1 during my administration. And the reason that we were hurt so badly and the reason that we went into such incredible inflation during Biden is energy. It was also their bad spending, but energy, because they played around with this incredible thing that we had built, this administration had built, and the energy costs went through the roof. And when that went up, everything else followed. Now, if you look at what's happening, you got to see this today. I said we're going to try and get groceries down, right? An old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term. Eggs. So when I got in, the press went absolutely crazy the first week. They said, eggs have quadrupled in price. I said, I just got here. Tell me about it. And Brooke Rollins and our team did a great job, and eggs are down now 79%, and they're all over the place. And this was a problem that somebody else would have taken a long time to cure. We have energy is down. We have interest rates are down. We have groceries, meaning food is down. We have everything is down at levels that nobody ever thought possible. Energy looks like it's going to be in the $2.50
wheat stocks are popping
range, and maybe below that for a car. So for gasoline. So we're really doing amazing. I mean, we're cutting prices because prices got so high people couldn't live. I mean, the prices for groceries, the prices for standard groceries, standard things were going through the roof. They couldn't live, and now those prices are coming down. So call them groceries, but that's down, energy's down, and interest rates are down. Everything's down. And the interest rates, the beauty there is when we refinance debt, you know, debt's become such a big factor in this country. We're going to start paying debt off with tariffs and other things. But it's such a big factor because the interest rate's so high. Well, now that's coming way down. So our budget's going to look a lot better because interest costs are way down. And I guess I've done that. Okay.
In the market, it's also down.
Good.
What is your
Good.
way of getting the hostages out from the horrific captivity?
Yeah, we are trying very hard to get the hostages out. We're looking at another ceasefire. We'll see what happens. But we want to get the hostages out. The Israeli people want the hostages out more than anything. They want the hostages out. This man is working very hard.
Gunlock says the bond market is deleveraging. That's why he's saying it's not going up.
He's working very, very hard on the hostages and many other things. And there are plenty of things you have to work on. It's a tough place in the world, isn't it?
I have a good partner.
Yeah, you do have a good partner, and so do we. We're working very hard on the hostages.
If you're going to negotiate a new deal with Iran, can you elaborate how it's going to be more effective than the JCPOA?
Well, I can't really say that, but I think it'll be different and maybe a lot stronger. But they were so happy when we made that first deal because we did get a lot out. You know, I had people right in this office, this beautiful Oval Office. They came in, 10 people, hostages, you know that. And I said to them, so how was it? And the stories they told me, I mean, as an example, I said to them, was there any sign of love? You were there, 10 people.
Oh,
it's only 10, but it's pretty representative.
We've heard this one before.
Did the Hamas show any signs of, like, help or liking you? Did they wink at you? Did they give you a piece of bread extra? Did they give you a meal on the side, like, you know, you think of doing? Like would happen in Germany, would happen elsewhere. People would try and help people that were in unbelievable distress. They said no. I said all of them. I said, did they ever wink at you like, you'll be okay? You're going to be okay? No, they didn't do that. They'd slap us. The hatred is unbelievable. And the lives, you know, they lived in a pipe, not really a tunnel, it was a pipe. And they always thought they were suffocating, they were going to suffocate. And then they'd open up the pipe, and it was like 3.5 feet high. This isn't, you know, we hear tunnels is bad, but pipes are worse. And the stories I heard were incredible. But I just said, was there any sign of potential love or affection? And there were none whatsoever. It was amazing to me. There was nothing like, here, take this, it's a little extra meal or something. They lived like hell. I don't know. They seemed to be, they were amazing to me because they seemed to be pretty normal. They weren't scarred, but I guarantee underneath they have to be scarred. And one was there for 356 days. Another was there for about 180 days. You know, a long time. These are people that have been really, really horribly treated. I've never seen anything like it, actually. I was very surprised to hear the answer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are there 2 or 3 countries that are on your list that you feel are farther along in getting their tariffs lowered?
I think there are many that want to get rid of tariffs right now. European Union, I mean, as bad
Yeah,
as
Gunlock is saying he believes there's forced selling in bonds probably is not going to end, and then the Fed is not in a position to reverse course or resume rate cuts.
Tariffs, it's non-monetary tariffs. It's
I
tariffs
guess they're going
where
to zero.
They put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing. They make it so difficult. The standards and the tests. They drop.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, serious though. I guess we're going to zero. All right. It was justified to cut ahead of the election with the data that is worse than today. So I guess so. I guess we're going to zero. It's the only way. I mean, fair enough. It is what it is. You're right. We can't cut. That would be inappropriate right now. So not ahead of the election. So I guess we're going to zero.
They make barriers that are so tough that it's impossible to qualify. So,
I mean, fuck, Larry Feek says the same thing, man, I guess.
There's another big part of it, and that's barriers. They also do something else. They manipulate their currency, and they drive it down. They want to have low currency.
They literally cut at all-time highs ahead of the election. Now you have the VIX near 50 with giving up a year of gains in 3 days, and they're like, no, now is not the time to cut.
It's very hard to sell product because their currency is low and ours is much higher relatively.
All right, guys, you're right.
And so it makes it very
so
hard.
there's only one way out of this.
A lot of
zero.
companies that do business, tractor companies, and they say it's so hard to sell because what they've done is they've lowered the yen or they've lowered the yuan or they've lowered their currency, so that it's very hard to compete. We don't want that either. So we have a lot of things that we're talking about, but we're going to fix it properly, and it's going to be fair to everybody. And in the end, I think we're going to have a world that does a lot better, you know. But they have to respect the United States, and nobody but me would do this. Nobody but me would do this. You know, it would be nice to serve a nice, easy term, but we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to reset the table on trade. We lose.
Chief Justice pauses order to return wrongfully deported man.
$2 trillion a year.
So does that mean he's getting deported or not?
China. $1 trillion. We
Because
lose.
there was a paused order to return the wrongfully deported. It's just so confusing. So is he coming home or not?
Hundreds of billions
Does that make sense?
Overall, probably close to $2
I don't get
trillion.
it.
Why would we do that? Number one, why would we do that? And then you have to say, is it sustainable? Then you hear about all of the people that say, well, deficits. If we have a deficit with the country, or if the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive surplus, that they take and they spend on their military. Well, we don't want that. I don't want them to take $500, $600 billion a year and spend it on their military.
Hey, he's coming out at China again. He was just shitting on EU. I am shocked. Listen, I think tomorrow you may get a delayed reaction to this China stuff, but all this China shit isn't good. But then again, maybe the market's absorbed a lot already. But yeah, he keeps shitting on China.
We don't want that. So it's going to be very interesting. It's the only chance our country will have to reset the table, because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end, but we are making tremendous progress with a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this. 90,000. You wouldn't think it's possible. 90,000 plants.
Why are you telling Bibi this?
Which was, by the way, the worst trade deal ever.
He's like, so do I get more Iron Dome or not?
And I terminated it after everybody said it would be impossible.
Do you stand with me or not, Trump?
Congress,
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah, so many plant. Good. How many missile? Oh, okay. Oh, don't too many. I make too many Israel jokes. Yep, sorry, guys. Kurt. Okay, we're good. I thought one too many. My bad. I didn't mean it.
A very strong country. Our country is going to be at a level that has maybe never been, or maybe, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff-based. We had no income tax. Then in 1913, some genius came up with the idea of let's charge the people of our country, not foreign countries that are ripping off our country. And the country was never that kind of wealth. We had so much wealth, we didn't know what to do with our money. We had meetings, we had committees, and these committees worked tirelessly to study one subject. We have so much money. What are we going to do with it? Who are we going to give
He
it
really
to?
loves
I
himself.
hope we're going to be in that position again.
Do you not love yourself? If not, you should. You should. It's good for self-preservation, amongst many things.
On where?
On Israeli goods, 70%.
I don't think that should.
Well, we're talking about a whole
I don't think that's a
new
diss.
trade. Maybe not. Don't forget, we help Israel a lot. We give Israel
I hate
$4
myself.
billion a year. That's a lot.
You should go talk to somebody about that.
It's pretty good. But we give Israel billions of dollars a year. Billions. It's one of the highest of, and we give a lot of.
I bet you this guy has self-respect.
You wouldn't believe if I said we give Afghanistan.
I bet you he really cares about his diet or something.
Another Biden deal. Not only did he embarrass us with that, but
yeah,
they give
fuck
them
that.
Billions of dollars, Afghanistan. Right?
Yeah, I bet you he has a good relationship with his parents.
We take good care of our friends, and we don't take care of our enemies. We're not taking
I bet
care
you
of
he
our
really
enemies.
loves his wife.
We do take care of our friends.
Yeah.
The IDF is fighting against the Gaza Strip.
I'd hope he does. I hope, man. I
Do you
hope.
think that's the way to pressure Hamas to get to a deal? And do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also an effective pressure?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in. But having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip, would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years. All I hear about
dude,
is
I thought we
killing
got
and
over
Hamas
this.
and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place.
I thought we were fucking over Gaza Lago. Damn it.
That nobody wants to live in
back.
because they really don't. And when they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems they have, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it. It wasn't this man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him very well. There's no way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out? Not good.
Is the immigration, sorry, Mr. President, is the immigration?
Which immigration?
From Gaza. From Gaza.
All it is a concept that I had that I think is good. And now
All right, man. 10-minute rigged. You're dancing. These point swings are going to be 2 points. Watch. Here to VWAP is literally 2 points.
Would you like to answer that question?
So,
I
yeah.
think what the president talked about is, first of all, to give people a choice. Gazans were closed in. And any other place, including in arenas of battle, I mean, whether it's Ukraine or Syria or any other place, people could leave. Gaza was the only place where they locked them in. We didn't lock them in.
That little banter. Well, thank you. That's
And
good.
what is wrong
I
with
definitely.
giving
I gotta
people a
unsubscribe
choice?
after that too.
We've been
So
talking
it balances out. Balances
about
out.
some countries.
Amen.
Won't go into them right now. That are saying, if Gazans want to leave, we want to take them in. And I think this is the right thing to do. if you give, it's going to take years to rebuild Gaza. In the meantime, people can have an option. The president has a vision. Countries are responding to that vision. We're working on it. I hope we'll have good news for you.
He does kind of sound like Tony the Tiger.
I do love that vision. It's a long-term vision, but so importantly is to have that be a safe field, because you're right smack.
You
in
could
the
see the
middle of the Middle East.
unsubscribes
You're right
afterwards, but I was just assuming the guy who dissed Trump's self-respect might have not.
I do know why, because they were
I was just
promised peace,
assuming
but that
his
didn't work out
reaction.
too well, because it's one of the most dangerous pieces of land anywhere in the world. Gaza is one of the most dangerous places in the world. So they gave it away for a good intention, and it didn't work out that way. And a lot of people like my concept, but there are other concepts that I like too, and there's some concepts I don't like. You know what I don't like? The way it is now, because right now it's a.
Watch, you have 7 minutes left.
Gaza. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Can you talk a little bit about your
STTK.
with Vladimir Putin? Do you still plan to meet with him? Could that happen in Saudi Arabia? And maybe you could elaborate as well a little bit on not providing tariffs on Russia, sir.
So the reason we're not talking about tariffs with Russia is because we're not doing business essentially with Russia, because they're in a war, and I'm not happy about what's going on with the bombing, because they're bombing like crazy right now. They're bombing. I don't know what's happening there. That's not a good situation. So we're meeting with Russia. We're meeting with Ukraine, and we're getting sort of close, but I'm not happy with all the bombing that's going on in the last week or so. Horrible. It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing.
Horrible thing. Horrible.
In terms of tariffs? Look, we've been ripped off and taken advantage of for 40, 50, 60 years. And
Yeah, this is stupid. Why are reporters asking about tariffs with Russia?
charge tariffs, massive numbers.
You guys know we don't trade with them. That's where you know, like, there's still a lot of disingenuous questions. Because how am I supposed to take you seriously on your assessment of trade policy when you guys are seriously asking the president, why aren't you sanctioning somebody you don't trade with? Or why are you not tariffing somebody that you have literally sanctioned? And not, like, why is that you know what I'm saying? And then I'm supposed to believe you on the other shit? That's crazy.
When Biden came in, he let him get away with murder. He had no idea. I'll tell you what, that man had no idea what was happening.
They just asked him that. They just asked him about tariffs on Russia.
He had no idea what was
It's like,
going
come on. That's a wicked line of questioning.
They went wild. China went wild. And the money they make is ridiculous, okay? It's just not going to happen. And hopefully we'll get along with China. If we do, that's great. And if we don't, that's okay too. But we can't let that continue, because that's an abuse. They abused the poor people that sat in the seat. That poor Biden, he was abused by them. They took advantage of him, and I'm surprised. They have smart people. They were radical left lunatics, but they're smart. I'm surprised they'd allow that to take, to happen. But we are going to bring great trade, and we're going to be fair to other countries. And I will say this. Virtually every country wants to negotiate. If I didn't do what I did over the last couple of weeks, you wouldn't have anybody wants to negotiate. We would have gone to these countries that want to talk, and they were, well, we don't want to talk. Now they're coming to us. They're offering things like even Bibi, and this is unrelated because it's a different kind of a relationship, but he started off our conversation today that he's cutting all of the tariffs, he's cutting everything. He's going to get down to a free base. He's going to do things that, in all fairness, other countries, if they said that, would have never even thought about doing it. Now they're offering things to us that we would have never even thought of asking them for, because they're experiencing a lot of hurt. And the hurt is that they've taken advantage of us, and we finally fought back. Tariffs will make this country very rich. We're rich anyway, but we're rich in a certain way. We have $36 trillion in debt. I want to get rid of it, and we can do it quickly.
All of it.
With proper deals. So when countries don't allow us to sell our product, but we allow them
Oh
to sell
shit,
their
bro!
product.
There's only 2
They
minutes.
charge us massive
Wow,
amounts of money for the privilege
dude, what a
of going
muted
into their
end of the
country.
day.
Those days are
Yeah, that's
over.
it.
Okay.
All that's gonna happen is whatever China says, or whatever Trump says by tonight to tomorrow.
Sir? Yeah. He sounds so surprised.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. So get ready. Wrap it up, though, but it is time to finalize your plays, my
I
friend.
can't tell you that. I can
As
just
we
tell
are
you there's a
listening to
major
this
meeting
live.
going on
I know you were hypnotized by
and
Trump.
Iran.
Ooh.
On Saturday, and it's
Follow my voice. You're getting sleepy. Very, very sleepy. Follow my voice. At the sound of the tariffs, you're gonna wake up, and you will reciprocate everything. 1, 2, 30%. There you wake up. Wake up. There you go. That tariff.
I
It's a
think
beautiful
if the
word.
talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran is going to
I
be
told
very
you I'd be
dangerous.
fair.
And I hate
They're a
to
little sleepy like Joe, but they're awake. Cool.
You know, it's not a
That doesn't make sense, sir. It makes sense. They're awake, but asleep. That makes no sense at all. It does. Think about it, Josh. Think about it. That's it. You only have 1 minute. 1 minute. Is that how he does it? 1 minute.
But Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
The
and
fuck?
If
What's
the
happening?
talks
Yeah, guys.
aren't
45
successful,
seconds. I don't know what's happening.
I actually
Even
think
the
it'll be a
market's
very bad
confused.
day
We haven't
for
moved in
Iran
5
if
hours.
that's the case. Yeah.
This is so weird.
Yeah, please go.
Mr. President, was October 7th the death blow of the two-state solution, and would you consider classifying the Palestinian Authority as a terrorist organization for its continued pay-for-slay terror financing payments?
So October 7th was a horrible day that some people, they deny it.
All right, 15 seconds. Wrap it up. Make up your mind for any plays for tomorrow, brethren. Any plays for tomorrow. Make up the mind.
October 7th was a
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
in the history of the world.
What an uneventful close, dude.
That happened. And they grabbed some of these.
I turned on extended out. That was terrible.
When I was with the
GG, baby.
a few weeks ago, I said, so how many are there? 59.
All right, GG. I'm going to keep this playing so we can't get as hyped.
They sort of knew.
I mean, technically it's still live, so anything could happen, but wow. What a day, boys. Get ready for tomorrow. I'll see you on the watch list. I love you all. I need to go get ready for the gym. So shout out to the Twitch. Shout out to the YouTube. Shout out to anybody who didn't get banned, baby. That's what I'm talking about. And God bless the long term. It's only the beginning.
And you know, I've had parents come up, Israeli parents largely. We have some Americans.
I'm dropping my
and we
GGs
have,
in the
I guess
Twitch,
we have,
baby. Shout out to you, baby. Shout out to El Coyote. Shout out everybody participating without getting banned. That's amazing. Because Josh will ban you for nothing. So that's amazing. That means you're a real one. You could survive it. Oh my gosh. TLT dumping after the bell, too? Habibi.
me the biggest favor ever. Could you bring his body back home? They talked about.
All right. Well, I love you.
dead
I'm going to keep
boy
this playing. I'm
and
going to go
a
get ready,
young
though.
dead girl.
I need to go get my clothes on.
Like they
I'm
were
not
living-
naked, but I don't have gym
and that
clothes
could
on.
have
I don't
something
want
to
you to
do
get
with
the wrong
religion.
idea.
That could have something to do with, I guess maybe any parent would be, but I was surprised. They said, sir, my son is dead. It is
Hey,
just
BRB.
as important to bring that body back home. I asked that question as if he were alive. So you have a lot of them dead, and we'll be able to bring them back. But it's a horrible thing that's happened. These are young, largely young people. Some old ones too, frankly. And those people have lived in hell. When they came off, the second group that came out, they looked like they just got out of a concentration camp. They looked exactly like the pictures that I'd see from the 1940s, the concentration camps. And then they got a little bit better, you know. But that second group, those people came out, and I said, this is unbelievable. We're going back into a chapter in history that is one of the worst ever. It's really very bad. Okay?
American manufacturing fully up to speed in response to these tariffs. What happens in the meantime? Should Americans be prepared potentially for years of disruption?
We have now $7 trillion. Think of this, $7 trillion of commitments from companies wanting to go in, from Apple to many, many companies.
But that takes time.
Many from Taiwan. What?
It takes time to
Of course it
fully
takes.
manufacture
Well, are you
products.
asking me a question, or are you telling me? Yeah, it takes time. You know, you got to build a thing called a factory. You have to build your energy. You have to do a lot of things. I'm giving them energy. You know, we're going to let them build their own power plants. They'll be their own. Essentially, they're going to be in charge of the power plant because our power is not reliable enough. You have a grid that's old and susceptible to a lot of things, including bombing and weather and a lot of other things. And we're going to give them record timing in terms of approvals of electric plants. Most of them want to build electric
Yeah, bro.
plants. We need massive
He's
amounts
still
of
going?
electricity if we're going to
I just
compete
got my
with
clothes.
China
TLT's
and
getting
others.
dumped on
And
after the bell.
interestingly, we're way ahead right now in
see.
the AI race.
We'll see
with
in the
China.
next 48
But
hours.
the way we
will
lose
be
that
crucial.
race is if we can't give them electric.
Honestly, until like
But we have
midnight.
more plants being built. We have everything. We're doing so great, and we want to keep it that way. And tariffs will be an important part of it. But one of the other things, Lee Zeldin's doing a fantastic job, head of environmental protection, and he's doing very rapid approvals for people to get, for big companies that are going to build a plant that's going to cost billions of dollars, and we're going to get them their approvals. They have to be environmentally perfect, everything good, but they're going to be in record time, a matter of months versus a matter of many, many years. Okay? Go ahead.
Lisa Rozowski from Haaretz. Turkey claims it will stabilize the situation in Syria.
Turkey?
Yeah. Israel doesn't want Turkey to influence Syria. What do you think? Do you think Turkey's influence in Syria can actually make it a better, more peaceful country, or vice versa?
Well, I have great relations with a man named Erdogan. Have you heard of him? And I happen to like him, and he likes me, and I know the press will get very angry. He likes Erdogan, but I do, and he likes me, and we've never had a problem, and we've gone through a lot, and we've never had a problem. We've always got, as you remember, we got our minister back from Turkey. You remember that? And this was a big deal at the time, and we got him back. And I told...
Did Oxy have earnings, or are they dumping on something else?
If you have a problem with Turkey, I really think I'm going to be able to...
Senate leader Thune says Senate bill on tariff authority does not have a future.
Turkey and with their leader, and I think we'll be able to work it out. So I hope that's not going to be a problem. I don't
Wild
think it will be a
market. I
problem.
mean, wait till the morning. Again, I think we're going to have a whole nother set of reactions. But I'm surprised. We went through today without a circuit breaker. I can't believe it. Dude, last night we were down 5% on futures, 0.25% close, NASDAQ green. That's amazing. So, yeah, we have a lot in store. This has all been a very wild ride. So you just went through 7 hours of you were right on the edge, bro. Hit a new low and everything. So we'll see, but I think there's a lot more pieces of info that are swirling around.
Any problem that you have with Turkey, I think I can solve. I mean, as long as you're reasonable. You have to be reasonable.
Everybody, all Europe closed down 5. There's like 5 different markets that were sold down 10%. It was crazy. Is it over? Oh, that's it. All right. Well, on that note, I'm ready to go, bro. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to the gym. We wrapped it up. I see I got to work out all this caffeine on the day and get ready for tomorrow. I'll see you on either this channel or the other one. We might do a live watch list. We might not. So we'll see where it takes us. But either way, God bless Chattatonia. God bless America. Thank you to the vets. We wouldn't be here without them. But Chad, go read the books. Richest Man in Babylon. Proverbs New Living Translation. And the strangest secret in the world. And don't forget why we're here. Why we keep going. Why that faith, hope, and love ain't ever going out of style. And why, my friends, everything is already destined. Oh, yeah. And that means you can't force it. What's yours is yours. Okay? That's your lesson. This will keep you alive. Don't force anything. Take it as it comes in, and don't force it. Don't try to make anything fit that doesn't, and you gonna be good, baby. Why, baby? Why? Yeah. Finger to the sky, baby. To God be the glory, and through the grace of God alone. Amen.
Amen. No. Woo! So, Chattadaudia, get your rest in. You might need it tomorrow. Even by tonight, we'll see what happens. And even then, I hope you rest too. I'm so glad I took a walk on the beach last night. You know I still took a walk on the beach, right? So look at you have 5% down. I still got to go to the beach, and you didn't have a limit down. Oh, my goodness. Life is good, baby. Relax. You'll be good. You'll be good. So, Chad, I love you. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you tonight, God willing. And then in the morning, have a wonderful one, and peace. Hey. Yeah. I was president. What do you mean flash crash? I never crashed when I was president. Yeah. Because everybody was my friend. Fuck Trump. Fuck you, Trump. The global inflation tariff is fucking no bond. Fuck, we can't cut rates now, only before the election. Yeah. That's the only time it's appropriate. Shut up. Shut up. I bring our stick Hunter on you like a dog. Stick him. Get him. Ruff, ruff, ruff. See, I told you, just like that. That's a good dog bark. I won't lie, Joe. He can bark like a dog. Like a dog. That's it. I'm the only one who will do this. Only president. Somebody had to do it. I did it. I'll do it. You're it. Dag. Guatemala, you're it. What? Okay, have a good one. Bye. Exactly. I don't know what that means. Guatemala, you're it. What does that even mean? I don't understand. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.